Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny, 23 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust FIVEaa Extra. Norwood, Pirie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. FIVEaAextra.com.
More South Australians are reaching for their mobile phones when entering a shop or restaurant. The police blitz on QR codes has seen a 55% jump in electronic COVID check-ins. The threat of hefty fines for patrons and business owners resulting in more than 10.5 million scans in a week. A South Australian man remains in intensive care after developing blood clots linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine. The 53-year-old received the jab on May 4 and was admitted to hospital on the 18th, suffering severe abdominal pain. A probable case is being investigated in an 87-year-old woman. Chief Health Officer Professor Nicholas Spurrier is urging people to monitor their symptoms after receiving the jab.
With this particular syndrome that has been linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine, it can occur anywhere from 4 days up to 28 days after having the vaccination. So it is important for people that have had the AZ vaccine to monitor themselves for symptoms, and it includes having a severe persistent headache or severe abdominal pain.
Facebook claims to have removed 14 million pieces of content deemed to be misinformation about the coronavirus pandemic. The figure includes 110,000 posts created by Australian users and pages between March and December last year. A ceasefire deal has been reached between Israeli and Palestinian forces after more than a week of deadly violence. It will take effect in 2.5 hours' time. At least 232 people in Gaza and 12 in Israel have been killed in the airstrikes and rocket fire. The BBC has made a public apology after an inquiry has found one of their journalists used deceitful behaviour to secure the explosive 1995 television interview with Princess Diana. Nine's Carrie-Anne Greenbank reports from London.
Questions have finally been answered about how BBC journalist Martin Bashir, who was then a relatively unknown reporter, managed to secure that interview. A retired judge has spent 6 months going through all the evidence and found that Martin Bashir was in serious breach of the BBC's editorial rules when he used deceitful tactics to induce Princess Diana's brother Earl Spencer into introducing her, using fake bank statements that apparently showed household staff were being paid for information. Instead of addressing the concerns when they became public and questions were asked after the interview, the report found the BBC then covered it up. The BBC has made a public apology.
A ticket to space is being auctioned off with the highest bid sitting at more than $3.5 million. Nine's Michael Genovese has the story.
The winning bidder will be launched to the edge of outer space. They'll unbuckle and experience weightlessness for about 3 minutes before returning to Earth. Successful bidders need to weigh between 50 and 100 kilograms. It's the final seat of 6 in the Blue Origin spacecraft, set to launch from Texas in July, a project led by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos.
Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And it's good morning and happy Friday to Tom Wren.
And a very happy Friday to you as well, Mel. The teams are in, which is great news for tomorrow's clash between Adelaide and Melbourne. The Crows welcoming back key forward Taylor Walker along with Ned McHenry. Nick Murray also comes in while Will Hamill, Billy Frampton and Ronan O'Connor have been dropped along with Andrew McPherson. The Power have only named a squad for Sunday's match against Collingwood at the MCG and bring back Dan Houston, but they lose Tom Cleary to his broken jaw, while Orazio Fantasia is also out with a tight hamstring. Essendon has just named a squad as well to take on North Melbourne, with their match not being played until Sunday. The Bombers have named 4 possible inclusions. Coach Ben Rutten says they have plenty of options to replace injured forward Devon Smith.
Fortunately, we've had some really good form from our guys in the VFL, and guys been playing up forward with Alec Waterman and Paddy Ambrose kicked 6 goals, and also Ned Carley's been playing a bit more through the midfield and half forward as well. So the pleasing thing is we've got some really good options to think about.
To golf now, the opening round of the US PGA Championship is underway in the US with a stack of players tied for the lead at 3 under in tough conditions. They include multiple major winner Brooks Koepka. Cam Smith is 3 shots back at even par. And North Queensland Cowboys youngster Murray Taulagi has recorded his first NRL hat-trick in a 36-20 point win over the Newcastle Knights. The home side was leading comfortably at 16-0 before 2 sin bins in 5 minutes turned the match on its head. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Mostly sunny for your Friday, a top of 23, much the same tomorrow, 23, and a bit more of the same on Sunday. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Mart's, buy 3 get 1 free on Bridgestone, Ecopia and selected Dunlop passenger tyres. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Six after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Friday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the show this morning, Phil Curry just before 7. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens will join us after 7:30 today to talk about the results of the QR code crackdown. Spoiler, they were pretty good. Also, Chris Moy from the AMA will talk about the first case of serious blood clotting in South Australia following an AstraZeneca vaccination. We'll talk to Dr. Chris Moy about that. Orazio Fantasia will be on the show ahead of Port's clash with Collingwood on Sunday. Ryan Fitzgerald a little bit later as well. And it is, of course, Meat Tray Friday. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Yep, Meat Tray Friday. We've got a fantastic tray coming in today. Thanks to Gary and Emily Churchill and all the staff at Churchill's Butchery. Fantastic butcher shop there at the Marriotteville Shopping Centre and in the Bayside Village at Glenelg. It was a bit of a interesting moment yesterday, an unfortunate moment for the guy in question, hearing about the blood clotting case.
Yeah,
he's in a serious but stable condition. Sounds like a very unpleasant process. The way you find out really is you end up with a crippling abdominal pain. That was the sign of it for this poor fellow. Exactly 2 weeks after he took the AstraZeneca virus, but it's totally in line with everything that we were discussing yesterday with Dr. Steve from SAMRI, and 250,000 vaccines have been administered in South Australia. More than 150,000 of them AstraZeneca, and this is the one poor soul who's had the blood clotting episode. So that's totally in line with...
1 in 250,000 is pretty much bang on, unfortunately. 250,026.
This is like the reverse of winning the golden ticket. And this poor bloke was the one who ended up being the unlucky number.
Significant too that he's 53. I think we started the program yesterday talking to you about if there's any group I reckon that rightfully can feel a little bit uneasy, it's the people that are just 50, because they're the ones that just for purely mathematical reasons you went, okay, that's the tipping point.
Yeah.
At which point it becomes more risky to have it than not. So there's going to be edge cases, and
well, not many.
There's
been 6 in the whole country.
Well, that's right. Of course, there's not many. But but I'm just saying that if there was anyone that should be a concern, it's the as Professor Steve Wessling told us yesterday. The reason they don't give it to the under 50s is because you're more likely to get blood clots in under 50s.
Yeah.
So maybe there was something about the biology of this man that was particularly youthful or some such. But said you wish him all the best and hope he does well. Hope he gets better. I just wonder whether we'll ever get a statistics for what kind of damage this does to the rollout of AstraZeneca and the perception of it. Well, it will.
Scott Morrison yesterday was saying that he's trying to put a brave face on, saying, "Oh, look, at least 60% of Australians are getting vaccinated."
But his government has been
quite enough.
Their messaging has been hopelessly mixed. Greg Hunt has said in recent days, "Well, if you're uneasy about it, don't worry. Later in the year, we'll be getting some Moderna and Pfizer."
Yeah, I know. They have real problems with their messaging, don't they?
Yeah.
Like just in terms of the consistency.
You know what? One thing has been made clear by South Australia being in a state of emergency, and people have quibbled about it. We've spoken to Matt Abraham about it a number of times. But at very least, you're always hearing about experts in the things of which they're expert. You can hear about the policing of QR codes from Grant Stevens. That's literally what he's doing every day.
Yeah.
You can hear about the medical advice from Nicholas Spurrier. It's what she's doing every day. You're not having to hear Stephen Wade try and explain it. Now Stephen Wade, I suspect, would do a significantly better job than what the federal ministers have done. But having a minister between the scientists and the message clearly isn't working for the federal government.
Yeah, I agree. The more people you've got talking about it, the more risk there is.
Well, I think that's
someone's
a simpler
going to say
and better way of putting
different.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Grant Stevens on the show today. Be interesting to hear what he's got to say about the vaccine target.
And is he running next election, as we discovered?
That's right.
His term's been extended to 12 weeks before it.
Looking forward to reading that Matt Abraham column on Sunday.
10 after 6.
Now, Meat Tray Friday.
Yes.
The truth is out there.
Thanks to Gary and Emily Churchill and all the staff of Churchill's Butchery. You can pop in and see them at 2 locations, the Marrieville Shopping Centre or in the Bayside Village at Glenelg. There's been an explosion of UFO-related content in the past week, and I think a lot of it comes from a 60 Minutes interview in the United States, 60 Minutes in the US, sat down with... There's a bit of vision now that I think everyone will have seen without necessarily being able to identify, of a planes targeting computer locking onto something that looked a little mysterious, zigzagged around and then shot off at a gazillion miles an hour. There's a couple of these images that came out in the last decade that people will recognise but not be able to place. Well, the pilots in the planes that captured that sat down for a chat with 60 Minutes. Here's a little bit of what they had to say.
So, as we're looking at this, her backseater says, "Hey, Skipper, do you?" And about that got out, I said, "Dude, do you see that thing down there?" And we saw this little white tic-tac looking object, and it's just kind of moving above the whitewater area.
Do you ever drop your phone and it sort of bounces off the countertop and then bounces off something else, and then it's sort of like no predictable movement, no predictable trajectory.
Yeah.
I guess. It was just
like a ping pong ball.
no acceleration.
Very, very random.
Acceleration.
The tic-tac still pointing north-south, it goes and just turns abruptly and starts mirroring me. So as I'm coming down, it starts coming up.
So it's mimicking your moves.
Yeah, it was aware we were there. I want to see how close I can get. So I go like this, and it's climbing still. And when it gets right in front of me, it just disappears.
That was the two Air Force pilots who had been scrambled from an aircraft carrier. They'd been doing drills, and this thing kept popping up on radar. So eventually they went and investigated it. And that's where we've got all this extraordinary looking sort of footage that about a decade ago the US military declassified, allowed to get out there. And these guys clearly now have exited their roles and are able to talk about it. And I've got to say, I watched the interview. They're very compelling.
They don't sound like crackpots, do
No.
they?
One of them's an older guy who looks every bit like an older American pilot. Like, he looks like he could be running the Top Gun program. Yeah. And one of them's she's a younger woman. She was the pilot of the other plane, the other jet, and she's younger and she's very intelligent and speaks very clearly and concisely. They have 2 other witnesses too, as they said at the start there. Their backseater, the person in the back doing whatever the person in the back does, navigation and weapons, I think. So they say there's 4 witnesses to this. They got nothing to gain. They're not trying to explain that it is anything, except it's just nothing that they've seen before.
To add further credibility to it as well, the former president, Barack Obama, has actually confirmed that that the Pentagon have been looking into, well, he says, he was on The Late Show with James Corden, and he cracked a joke. He said, when it comes to aliens, there are some things I just can't tell you on air. But then he went on, he said, but what is true, and I'm actually being serious here, is that there's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. So I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is.
Well, we thought, for the meat tray this morning, we'd offer up the opportunity for you to tell us about the unexplained things you've seen. Unexplained occurrences. Doesn't have to be little green men and things in the sky. Just things you've seen that you can't explain.
You know, my wife's convinced that she saw the Loch Ness Monster.
Really?
Not something she ever put in an election pamphlet when she was still in the old job.
No. Would the member for Adelaide please explain the time she claims to have seen a giant mythical dragon in a Scottish lake?
Vote for me because I've seen the Loch Ness Monster. Sounds like something my mate Dave Sagg would have put on his election flyer when he ran for Parliament as a hemp candidate.
So well, why not? I love this kind of stuff.
She saw something.
My first instinct will never be to say someone didn't. People see weird stuff. There's enough intelligent, reasonably minded and balanced people that have seen stuff they can't explain.
I had a shockingly scary dream the other morning. And it was a dream that sort of followed me into real life. I was in the bathroom, and I just, for one split second, imagined I could hear a voice talking to me in Spanish as per the exact replica of the scene in The Sixth Sense when Bruce Willis is listening to the tape and he hears the voice in the background talking to the boy, and the voice is saying, "No me mates, which is Spanish for "don't kill me." And I was in the bathroom, and it just terrified me. And I was just standing there thinking, "What? Just get that out of your head." At this point, I still thought I was about to turn 53.
Right.
I was thinking you're almost 53. Except I'm not. I'm almost 52.
Good news for you. Happy birthday for tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
8223 is the number. You can text us on the Just Know About Barker text line. What is something you've seen that you simply can't explain? News headlines coming up next.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery, or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby, or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
For over 36 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
At Spotlight, a window's what you make it with a massive 40% off the entire range of blockout curtains, 50% off the entire range of timber and fir wood Venetian blinds, so you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Amelia, Damien and Jamie Grant from Fulham Funerals.
Fulham Funerals have been caring for South Australian families for over 25 years.
Our pillars are dignity, quality and affordability.
Every Fulham funeral is conducted with the utmost care and respect.
And with 3 Fulham funeral locations across Adelaide.
We oversee everything from traditional funerals,
celebrations of life, even the smallest funerals.
Plus we cater for all religions and beliefs.
Our family, caring for your family.
Call or go online at fulhamfunerals.com.au.
At Budget Car and Truck Rentals, the answer is always yes. Yes to car and truck rentals. Yes to minibus rentals you can drive on a car licence. Yes to four-wheel drives and utes. Yes to tippers. Yes to mobile cool rooms and refrigerated trucks and vans. Yes to open and enclosed trailers. Yes to 5 and 8 tonne Pantex. At Budget Car and Truck Rentals, the answer is always yes. Call 13 27 27.
Great business starts when you're in control. With the Optus Business Connect plan, get up to 8 SIMs and up to 300 gig of data, all on one simple plan. Great business starts with yes. Explore the Optus Business Connect plan in-store or online today. T's and C's apply.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Got it after 6. Unexplained phenomena. Things you've seen that you can't explain for the meat tray this morning. Thanks to the wonderful people, Gary and Emily Churchill at Churchill's Butchery. 2 locations, Marrickville Shopping Centre and Bayside Village in Glenelg. Kay in Glengarry. One of those is near you. Morning to you, Kay.
Oh, good morning, guys. Look, I'm glad this is early because if anyone hears me, they won't think I'm an idiot. But this must be going back 25, 30 years ago. I used to do a little cleaning job at Norlunga. I was coming back along, I think it was Lonsdale Road, somewhere down there, and it was about 7 o'clock at night, still light, so I presume it was still daylight saving. And I just looked up and there was this orange light coming down the middle of the road at about 45 degrees. Sort of looked like a big orange balloon in the sky coming down. And there was one car in front of me about a half a k ahead. And I just could not explain what it was. It wasn't glowing or anything. It was just orange and it was round. Anyway, came slowly and then it just veered off to the down to the south. And this car pulled over up in front of me and I sped up to try and pull over and talk to him and say, did you see what I saw? but he took off before I actually got to him. But I will swear. But when I got home, I rang Colin Norris. Can you remember Colin Norris?
Yeah, Colin Norris, the UFO expert. Yeah.
And I rang him and I explained to him what I saw, and he came back to me and said, Kay, there was nothing in the sky that should have been there. Like, there was no planes or anything like that. So I will swear I have seen something that is unexplainable.
No, that's a great story, Kay. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. You're not crazy.
Good stuff, Kay.
We know enough about you, Kay. You're well enough put together
exactly.
that
No issues with Kay.
Exactly right. Reliable witness. We won't assess the reliability of every witness, so don't worry about that. We just know know Kay from speaking with her over the years. 822 is the number.
Former Meat Tray Friday winner.
I think so.
Yeah.
News headlines now, and there's a big one in the Middle East. Israel and Palestinian forces have agreed to a ceasefire to end almost 2 weeks of violence. A Hamas official has confirmed there will be a mutual and simultaneous truce with Israel beginning in 3 hours. More than 240 people have been killed in the conflict. It was an extraordinary scene this morning. The familiar backdrop of reporters standing against the skyline, effectively on balconies, and as they were doing a live report, one received a text which must have been a press notification from the Israeli government saying the ceasefire, they're going to do a unilateral ceasefire in 3 hours. And as he's standing there, he starts motioning to another reporter up there and says, I think we've got an update on Hamas. And that guy sort of wanders into the picture with his mobile phone, and he's reading a text message.
Oh, really?
And I kept thinking, was it Hamas media relations?
It probably would be.
I know, it's just so bizarre to think.
But journos have their own sources. You know,
That's true.
If you're a Palestinian journo,
that's true.
That'd be the equivalent of a, well-placed backbench source.
I guess that's true. It was odd to watch. Everyone learnt about everyone had actually agreed to the ceasefire live in this moment via text messages to journalists on a rooftop in
some guy Strip. Some guy putting down his rocket launcher so he can text a journal on the quiet.
I better tell Sky News UK, actually.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
An inquiry has found...
you didn't hear this from me.
Yeah, that's right. You owe me one.
Yeah.
This one's journalists behaving badly, this story. An inquiry has found that Martin Bashir, the BBC journalist, used deceitful behaviour to secure the explosive 1995 interview with Princess Diana. The BBC has written to Princes William and Harry and issued a full and unconditional apology. Bashir faked documents to get close to the princess and then used them to convince her to do the interview. As well as Diana's sons, the BBC has also written apologies to Prince Charles and Diana's brother Earl Spencer. It's also returning all awards the interview received, including a TV BAFTA one in 1996.
That is a huge comeuppance for that bloke, isn't it?
Oh, well, Martin Bashir, he secured the Michael Jackson interview that became infamous as well.
But it's not just a historic interview. It's probably an interview that changed history because it totally affected people's perception of the royal family. And certainly the future king. I reckon one of the main reasons people don't like Prince Charles is the line from that interview, namely, what was it?
There's three of us in this marriage, it's a bit crowded.
Yeah, that's right. 3 of us in this marriage, a bit crowded. And you watch that and you go, poor Diana.
Yeah.
What an arsehole Prince Charles is.
Yes,
that's what you think.
Absolutely. It did. It changed the perception of the monarchy.
Not being, one hack defending another hack, she still said it.
She did say it.
So he used all of those things in his arsenal of deceit to secure an interview, but she still said it.
And he elicited a truth from it. But other circumstances meant it wasn't...
But did he make her even more angry because of what he said to her?
Yeah. Without a doubt. So, and we'll play some of this after 7 o'clock.
I mean, it's a total dog act anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating story.
We'll talk about some more of the details after 7 because it makes a bit more clear why she would have been so up in arms, I think, in that interview. Investigations are continuing into another 6 blood clot cases linked to the AstraZeneca jab, which includes 2 South Australians. A 53-year-old man is in intensive care at the RAR after reporting severe abdominal pain. There's a second probable case in an 87-year-old woman. Here is Professor Nicholas Burrier.
I think it's important for everyone to realise that every vaccination comes with a potential risk. And in fact, every medication has a potential side effect, but we have to weigh up the risks and benefits. And so when people are thinking about getting the COVID vaccine, it's important for them to think about the personal risks to them and their family of having COVID.
25 minutes after 6, we also have seen a massive jump in QR code compliance. The Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, who will be on in just over an hour's time to talk about that more in depth with us. 25 minutes after 6, will break and Tom Wren will join us in just a moment. But a quick look at the weather this morning and the weekend. 10.5 in Adelaide right now. Today is going to be a cracker. 23 the top, mostly sunny. Similar tomorrow, 23. Beautiful day for your birthday, if you're having one, David. And 23 on Sunday as well. 24 on Monday. What a wonderful couple of days. Then on Tuesday, she gets wintry. 19 and 10 mils of rain.
You're invited to an evening of food from around the world. Wine tastings and product demonstrations, including the latest from Miele, Asco, Neff and Smeg. It's all to celebrate the relaunch of the newly renovated Mr. Dishwasher Adelaide Appliance Gallery showroom. Save the date, June the 2nd at Mr. Dishwasher Adelaide Appliance Gallery. It promises to be a night of cooking inspiration and kitchen innovation. Numbers are limited, so book now at adelaideappliancegallery.com.au.
For over 2 decades, Avanti Care have delivered care with purpose to thousands of South Australians. And now we're thrilled to announce the opening of our new wellbeing hub on Fullerton Road, Kent Town. Like everything we do at Avanti Care, our wellbeing hub has real purpose, delivering a full range of allied healthcare services for adults of any age in one location. We even have an on-site health concierge to ensure you're getting the care you need. For more on our wellbeing hub, visit avanticare.com.au.
What's the trusted Australian off-roading brand made for Australian conditions? TJM. They know the South Australian bush because it's their backyard, just as it's yours. So who better to give the best advice on what equipment you need? Whether you're a novice or an experienced off-roader, see the TJM team. They stand by their products and have been doing it since 1973. Get into TJM today and get off-road tomorrow. Nailsworth and Clovelly Park, tjmsa.com.au.
Want a better bed at a better price? Better come to Dreamland.
That's right. If you're looking for a better night's sleep, get into Dreamland for savings of up to 50% off big brand Australian-made mattresses. Like Sealy Queen Back and Body Mattress, now only $9.99. That's half price. And Sleepmaker Pocket Spring mattresses are also half price at only $9.99. And it gets better with deals on beds and bedroom furniture. So for a better night's sleep, get into one of Dreamland's 6 stores for up to 50% off this month.
By better than Dreamland, you're dreaming. Dreamland.
At my age, there's not many parts that don't hurt. But at night, when my hip gives me hell, sometimes there's no nurse to help me. Easing my pain, is that too much to ask?
The Royal Commission into Aged Care found there are not enough nurses to administer pain relief. Ask the Morrison government to mandate staff ratio laws in aged care. Go to itsnottoomuch.com. Authorised by EDABAS for ANMF Federation SA Branch Lytton.
It's easy to remember QBE for CTP.
Yeah, QBE for CTP.
But we've made it even easier.
How? QBE for CTP is easy as.
You could get a $25 e-gift card when you...
Pick QBE for CTP. Awesome.
Go to qbefforctp.com.au to get your $25 e-gift card. Easy. QBE, there for you before and after.
Offer ends July 31. Terms apply, like 12-month car rego selected premium classes only. Insurance issued by QBE Insurance Australia Limited.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Mart's, buy 3 get 1 free on Bridgestone, Copia and selected Dunlop passenger tyres. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 after 6. Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. 3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. FIVEaa Milk Company in your supermarket now. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. We'll start with a bit of AFL. Great that teams are finally back. The Crows have made some big inclusions. Ned McHenry comes in along with Taylor Walker and Nick Murray. Just a squad for Port Adelaide. And, gee, I'm fascinated. Orazio Fantasia, just a little bit of hamstring tightness, I think. More precautionary, but you boys will have him on hopefully later this morning.
We'll ask him about that.
Looking forward to that. So a big weekend of footy for both clubs. Tom Cleary also out for the Power. That's a big out, but Dan Houston is back. Your gauntlet tips, boys. You're still going. You've absolutely embarrassed me, Andy and Lucy. So I've got to get your tips for this week, if that's possible.
Carlton Hawthorn for me. I'm going to take Carlton.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good steady play.
I am going to tip Adelaide to beat Melbourne.
Oh, my goodness.
So you're going to come up with something new to do next week, Rennie?
Do you mean Melbourne?
Yeah.
No, you want Adelaide.
Melbourne and Jube for a loss.
I love it.
Adelaide, if they can piece it together, there were
love
some
it too.
excellent signs last week.
Well, you do have to pick.
Will loves it in a different way.
You can't pick any side twice, and so you're going Adelaide this
I haven't
week.
picked Adelaide
No,
yet.
I love it. Good on you. Putting it all
I
out
said on
there.
air the other day that I reckon they'll beat them. I know a few people who do.
Yep. No.
Who aren't completely mad and know a bit about football, making them quite different from me. Hey, can I just say something? Zane Kirkwood, Varley, what an absolute legend, what a legend bloke, what a legend footballer. 222 games at Sturt. He announced last night that he's hanging up the boots on Saturday. So, Sturt fans, and also just people who love footy and love SANFL, and also Port people, because he's got a connection to Port. He started at Albert and he played 88 games for the Maggies. But Zane Kirkwood has been such a leader for Sturt. 2 Magarey medals, 2 premierships, premiership captain, excellent bloke, great advocate as well. Done a lot of great charity work. So good on you, Zane. And I'm desperately trying to rearrange my afternoon tomorrow to make sure I can get along to Unley, because it feels like it's going to be special.
Well said, Pembo. And just as I leave, NBA play in matches, so this is for the right to get into the playoffs. It's a new thing this season, Will. We haven't seen it before. Amazing game yesterday with the Lakers beating Golden State 103-100. But your boys, the Indiana Pacers, 9:30 this morning. I know what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, you do.
How are you going to be coping? Are they going to win?
I've had such a tortured relationship with this season, Rennie. For the last 3 weeks, I've thought it's better they just lose and the season ends. But then you suddenly get to actually watching an elimination game, and I can't help myself. I'm going to be yelling at the TV all sorts of profanity this morning. I can't wait. I think they'll get up.
They'll win.
I think they'll get up.
Russell Westbrook gone.
In Washington. I think Westbrook and Beal are both hobbled.
Okay.
I've cursed it now. I've stuffed
No,
them.
that's good. That's good. Talk them up. You've got to be like Pembo, bit of confidence.
Yeah, you're right.
So if
You're
they
right.
win that, they're into the playoffs. I don't mind this idea. We'll see whether it comes in the AFL in the next season or two. But good luck anyway.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
That's Tom
Good on
Wren,
you, Tom.
who loves South Australia as much as you do. Fleurieu Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy today, a top of 23 with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra Clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
A major development overnight. Israeli and Palestinian forces have agreed to a ceasefire. There will be a mutual and simultaneous truce with Israel beginning at 8:30 this morning, South Australian time. More than 240 people have been killed in the conflict over the past week and a half. The police blitz on QR codes is having the desired effect. Compliance has jumped a whopping 55% since the launch of Operation Trace in SA last week. Hefty fines will be handed out if patrons and business owners don't comply with the electronic COVID check-in requirements. There have been over 10.5 million scans in the past week. The AstraZeneca vaccine is being blamed for 6 new blood clot cases, including 2 South Australians. A 53-year-old man is in ICU after getting the vaccine on May 4, while a second probable case, an 87-year-old woman, is being investigated. Chief Health Officer Professor Nicola Spurrier says people with concerns about the jab should speak to their GP.
I think it's also important for people, as it is a very personal decision, that they do seek advice from their own GP if they're concerned, or if they're coming to one of our vaccination clinics, to speak to staff about their concerns and make sure that they have all of those questions answered.
Manufacturers will be able to submit their plan to build a high-tech vaccine facility in Australia. Nine's Michael Packy reports.
Pfizer and Moderna both use mRNA technology to produce their COVID vaccines. Australia is importing Pfizer doses from Europe, and the federal government is planning to get the US-based Moderna into the country. The push is on to set up a local mRNA facility as part of the $1 billion Modern Manufacturing Initiative. An approach to market kicks off today. Interested companies will have 8 weeks to submit a fully costed proposal which would provide end-to-end production of the COVID vaccine and other health products. The facility would have the ability to easily scale up with the government as the main customer.
7 people, including a surgeon, have been charged with homicide over the death of Diego Maradona. The soccer legend passed away last November from heart failure, a fortnight after undergoing brain surgery. He was only 60. Anyone having a cuppa today is being asked to check if it's an Australian tea. About 95% of all tea consumed here is imported. Australian Tea Cultural Society Director David Lyons says we should be supporting our local growers.
And so we should consider, having a cup of tea tomorrow. Oztics are asking people to simply have a tea party. So that could be as simple as 2 people, or it could be a group of colleagues or friends, and it can be enjoyed by every Australian.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Fluorio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And we're getting ready for a big weekend of footy, Tom Wren.
Massive, isn't it, Mel? Tomorrow, Adelaide taking on Melbourne, and the captain, Rory Sloane, says he can't wait to have key forward Taylor Walker back in the side. He missed last week's clash against West Coast after being rested, and Sloane told Rowie he'll be a welcome addition.
Oh, it'd be great to have him back. He's a great leader, so to have him out there, he would have enjoyed that trip to Perth, I think. The way we played and the way we moved the ball, I think he would have kicked a few as well.
The Crows also bring back Ned McHenry and Nick Murray. The Power have named a squad for Sunday's match against Collingwood. Dan Houston returns from a shoulder injury, but Tom Cleary and Orazio Fantasia are both out injured. Round 10 begins tonight with Brisbane hosting Richmond in a blockbuster at the Gabba. Let's go to basketball, and the Adelaide 36ers will be without Isaac Humphries for the rest of the season. Coach Connor Henry telling Rowie his injury to his foot was just causing too many issues.
If we had kept him playing, we don't feel like we would have gotten a significant contribution out of him because he's beat up. And it gives us a chance to help him get healthy for a possible Boomers run. It also gives him a long, lengthy off-season to address a couple of things in his lower legs.
Meantime, in the NBA, the LA Lakers have qualified for the playoffs after a dramatic come-from-behind 3-point win against Golden State. And 6 players share the lead late in the first round of the US PGA Championship in Charleston at 3 under. Cam Smith is the best of the Aussies, 3 shots back. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
23 today, mostly sunny, 23 tomorrow and 23 again on Sunday. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 7. We're going to talk more about the now disgraced Martin Bashir interview with Princess Diana after 7 o'clock. The BBC investigation discovered it was based on fraudulent documents. You've heard it in 5AA News. You'll hear a little bit in news, I suspect, with Prince William, who's just issued a statement. We're going to get into it. We'll play it all together and put you inside the story after 7 o'clock today, but he has not held back. We'll get into that.
And nor should he.
Yeah, no, he's...
Nor should he.
Yeah, but there's always a sort of something reserved about the Royals. Based on what I'm seeing, he wasn't particularly reserved.
Yeah, right.
So we'll...
it's a good story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an extraordinary story.
That's the thing with Harry, where I just think, look, he's woke, he's a pain in the butt, he's preachy, he's hypocritical on some things like climate change, telling the world how to suck eggs but flying around in his Learjet. But when it comes to the treatment of his mother by the media, and I say this as a journo, I just think he's got every right to be as disgusted and angry to this day as to his grave. Like, it's just appalling what happened to that woman.
All right, let's to get some Meat Tray Friday entries happening. The Meat Tray, thanks to Gary and Emily Churchill, inspired this week by the 60 Minutes interview and report, followed up by Barack Obama being talked to about it regarding declassified UFO sighting documents. The interview is extraordinary. We played a little bit of it earlier. Philip and Freeling, what's something you've seen that you can't explain?
Well, back in 1965, I was 17 at the time, almost 18, and I was coming through from Halls Gap, coming through the back way from Halls Gap, coming through the Grampians, heading back to South Australia. And me and my mate was in the car about 8 o'clock at night, and a light above us followed us. And it was reasonably dark everywhere except the light that was following us. It scared us so much, we pushed it real hard to try and get the heck out of there.
Seriously?
Wow. And I've never forgotten that today, and I'm 73 now.
Gee.
Geez, Philip. Sounds like even talking about it takes you back to that moment.
Scared. Well, my friend told me, he threatened me, he said, don't you ever tell anyone because they'll call us idiots.
Hmm. Oh, wow.
At the time. He was so scared.
Wow. Philip, that's... there are some stories that it's in the telling, isn't it? You could hear it in Philip's voice.
You could.
That's a strong entry for the meat trail, just to have you know, Philip. Chris in Surrey Downs, good morning.
Good morning. I've got a few, actually, but one of them years ago, I was coming from Goolwa back over to Middleton. We had a house there. And I just left Goolwa, and there was a red line up in the air, and it followed me, the same as that gentleman, and it had little sparkly type things coming out of it. So I eventually got back to the house. Mum was there, and I said, just go outside and see whether you can see anything. And she went out there, she said, no, I can't see it. Next thing she saw it, just over the hills, and it was there for about 10 seconds and disappeared. I used to give Basham's Dairy a hand to milk cows and everything else like that. And I go there early in the morning, and you can see from Middleton to Port Elliot, and there's this noise. It sounded like a diesel train starting up. And I went out the back of the dairy and had a look around. Not a car on the road, nothing. And this noise was still there, and it just disappeared.
That's bizarre. That is seriously weird.
Thank you, Chris. I'm loving these stories. This is great. Ben in Christie's Beach, good morning.
Morning, boys. So this is a friend of a friend story. I'll start off by saying it's a story my dad told me, and my dad's he's not crazy. He's a vegetarian, but he's not crazy.
That's an excellent qualifier.
That's fantastic.
He was in the RAAF for 30 years as a cook, and there was a guy that was in his group that told a story about when he was young, his dad and him had a farm in Clare, and something crashed out in the field, and they went out and looked, and it was, I know this is going to sound very cliche, but a kind of a saucer, really smooth edges, but it was all bent up like alfoil that when it had hit the ground, and it had dug right into the ground. They called the police. The police came out, and then about an hour later, a whole heap of unmarked cars and stuff like that came with a truck, took it all away, and nobody ever believed him, but he'd actually taken photos, so he brought the photos in, and because he was copping all this flack about the story, he brought these photos in and actually showed my dad photos of the crash site and what was left over, and so that was out in Clare, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
and my dad swears black and blue that it happened, and he's he loves the story, but he's not a loony.
who knew that Clare was our very own Roswell? What about that?
Yeah, well.
What's it called? Area what? Area
51.
51.
Hey,
they're in Area 51.
Lucy's our Clare expert and Clare local. Are you aware of any UFO crash sites in the Clare area? Lucy, where were you born? Do you have a birth certificate?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any?
She's been very evasive.
Telepathic powers?
North Adelaide.
She says North Adelaide. Yeah, what, in a military facility or a hospital? Not convinced. What year did this happen, Ben? That's the year of Lucy's birth.
That's a great call, Ben. I'm unnerved by the Lucy connection.
Yeah, me too. I've always thought she just knows a bit more than what's going on than she lets on.
Yeah.
17 to 7, let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal in 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles. That's Dave Potter Honda.
Good morning. Got a burst water main this morning at Para Hills. Crews working on that at the moment. McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Crafers, the freeway up track. A broken down truck just before the tunnel. Speeds are reduced there. Getting busy. Karata Park. South Road busy from Anzac Highway to Everard Avenue. That's as you're heading towards Mile End. And roadworks this morning. West Lakes Boulevard near Turner Drive. Speed and lane restrictions for the intersection upgrade there. A couple of speed cameras. Raglan Avenue, Edwardstown and Montague Road at Paraka. At the Mazda moment, end of financial year sale. The moment to make it yours is now. Visit your Mazda dealer to arrange a test drive today. There isn't a moment to lose. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
My favourite thing to do at St Andrew's School is reading. I love coming to school and getting to try new things like viola. I love coming to St Andrew's School because I can make new friends.
My school is all these things and more. It's what makes it one of South Australia's leading primary schools. Hi, I'm Sophie, school captain at St Andrew's. Join the principal for a tour on Tuesday the 25th of May at 9:30am or Saturday the 29th of May at 10am. Just Google St Andrew's School.
At Spotlight, a window's what you make it with a massive 40% off the entire range of block-out curtains, 50% off the entire range of timber and fir wood Venetian blinds, so you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
When you think surgery, you think hospital, right? Well, Dr. Greg Keane wants you to think SportsMed.
SportsMed is the only purpose-built orthopaedic hospital in the country, with world-class nursing and theatre staff, a first-class catering team, and the latest innovations in patient treatment and care.
And your surgeons?
We're experts in all procedures for hips, knees, feet, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrists and hands.
All your treatments, all your care. One place. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your successful surgery.
sportsmed.com.au.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. Don't wait for end of financial year sales. Get great deals on a massive range of new Volkswagens right now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has loaded up on new stock, as well as locate demos, all ready for immediate delivery. And if you're impressed with our sales team, you'll love our service department, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't wait for a great deal on Volkswagen. Get yours now from Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Need it fixed? Fitted? Need it flushed? Replaced? Built? Tiled? Cleaned? Give Ken a call. Ken Hall Plumbers, your local plumbers since 1983. For plumbing, gas fitting, roofing and hot water, give Ken a call. 8364 5855.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Mart's, buy 3 get 1 free on Bridgestone, Copia and selected Dunlop passenger tyres. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
14 minutes to 7. Let's check in with SAPOL. Senior Constable Matt Brown is on the line. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're well. Now, arson's caused house damage at Merino. What's happened?
That's right. Police are investigating after a pillow was set alight and caused damage to a property at Merino this morning. Just before 5:30am today, police and fire crews were called to Ronald Crescent after reports of a house on fire. Upon arrival, MFS officers located that a pillow had been set alight and placed on the front door, and it caused damage to the front door and entrance area of the house, and also filled the house with smoke. Now, the elderly occupant, who was at home at the time, was taken to the Flinders Medical Centre for precautionary measures or a check of smoking inhalation. And Southern District Police are investigating the matter and ask anyone who may have seen suspicious activity in the area to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Matt, also, this story's pretty concerning. I spent a bit of time in the Murray area doing a piece with the head of major crime as well, Steve Taylor, about the meth problems facing Murray Bridge and other parts of the Murray.
Yes.
So what's the go here? $1 million of meth has been found during a routine truck stop in the Murray. Oh, so there's the Murray Mallee.
That's right. Now, officers from the Heavy Vehicle Enforcement Section located the drugs after stopping a truck at a vehicle inspection station at Yamba. This occurred actually in the early hours of Wednesday morning. A truck was stopped on the Sturt Highway during a vehicle inspection, and police located 10 kilograms of methamphetamine in the truck's cabin behind the passenger seat. Now, the driver, a 25-year-old man from Adelaide Plains, and the passenger, a 32-year-old woman from Two Wells, were arrested and charged with trafficking a large commercial quantity of a controlled drug. Now, both refused bail and appeared in court where they were remanded in custody. Now, of course, we do take road safety very seriously and work closely with Traffic Services Branch to keep the roads safe. But it is surprising that a routine traffic operation can result in such a large seizure of a harmful and dangerous drug like methamphetamine. So, as we mentioned, the drugs are valued at over $1 million, and the penalty for those caught trafficking large commercial quantities of drugs is possibly life imprisonment, forfeiture of assets gained as well, and in this case, the driver's truck has already been impounded. So good work by the heavy vehicle officers there.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff,
you,
Matt.
Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. Let's talk weather. Tom Bowick, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. It looks like we've got some absolutely magnificent days on the way, Tom.
Yeah, exactly, Dave and Will. Pretty easy for the next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 23 degrees for all those days for a maximum. We're off to a pretty cool start this morning, though. 8.2 degrees at the moment, which is our minimum temperature. So, pretty cool out there at the moment. But, it's going to be warming up quite well during the day and, as I said, into the weekend as well. Only thing there for, I guess, later in the weekend is the winds are going to start increasing from the north-easterly direction on Sunday there. So, and the reason for that is we do have this sort of approaching front, but probably not going to see effects of that till Tuesday. Monday we've got 24 degrees and some sort of fresh north to northeasterly winds, so we'll warmer still there, but probably see some cloud coming in. Have a change on Tuesday though, so that's likely to be coming in the morning period there, and a very high chance of showers with that change. Temperature back at 19 degrees, and then still a high chance of showers around for Wednesday, 17 degrees, and probably a shower or two for Thursday, also 17 degrees, guys.
Good on you, Tom. Thanks for that. Tom. So, senior forecaster Tom Boak from the Weather Bureau. Good morning to our deepest listener. We've often had fun finding our furthest away listener. Our deepest down listener, I think, is currently listening to us via the Olympic Dam at Roxby Downs. Good morning to you, good sir. Keep up the good work, boys. I listen to you on my phone at work in the mine.
Oh, underground.
Underground.
Underground in the mine.
Underground, I think he's probably a kilometre down.
What about that?
Tuning in. Or maybe on the surface in the vicinity, but I like to imagine he's near the Earth's crust.
I wouldn't have the bottle to do that. I would not have the bottle to do that for a living. Have you ever been down in a mine?
No, I haven't.
I went underground in...
They're big spaces, aren't they?
Acadia mine.
With roads and...
Oh, yeah, they're huge.
Tunnels.
But I still think, what's all that above me?
Yeah.
It used to be the Earth.
That it is, sir. That it is. 9 to 7. Phil Curry will join us right after this.
Get a Nissan Qashqai with Apple CarPlay and a standard 5-year warranty. Plus, when you finance with Nissan Future Value, receive up to 3 years free service. Only at Nissan. T's and C's apply. Approved applicants only.
Now at Harvey Norman, get up to $500 in Harvey Norman gift cards with selected home entertainment products. Trade in your old tech and double the bonus. Up to $250 in Harvey Norman gift cards on selected home entertainment products. Plus double the bonus up to $500 when you trade in your old technology. That's right, up to $500 when you trade in your old technology at Harvey Norman. Trade in and upgrade your TV or soundbar and get double the bonus. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details. Now at Harvey Norman.
Here at FIVEaa, we're all about supporting local. Anyone can experience a cardiac condition. If you need support, reach out. Heartbeat SA's reassurance officers. Visit heartbeatsouthaaustralia.org.au.
Thanks to Cheapest Chips, you won't care how cold it gets over winter. Not with these Cheapest Chips winter warmers.
Cheapest Chips.
Rug up with winter clothing from just $15. Snuggle up with blankets and throws from $15. And heat it up with heaters from only $20. No matter what winter throws at you, your local Cheapest Chips will help you turn up the heat. So do winter cheaper and live cheaper every day at Cheapest Chips. Online and in store now.
For over 2 decades, Avanti Care have delivered care with purpose to thousands of South Australians. And now we're thrilled to announce the opening of our new wellbeing hub on Fullerton Road, Kent Town. Like everything we do at Avanti Care, our wellbeing hub has real purpose, delivering a full range of healthcare services in one location, including physio, occupational therapy, speech pathology, dietetics and podiatry. For more on our wellbeing hub, visit avanticare.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 7, the Police Commissioner will join us after 7:30 this morning, Grant Stevens, to talk about the QR code crackdown, Operation Trace. It's had the desired result. We'll get into the data after 7:30, but right now, Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review joins us from chilly Canberra. Morning to you, Phil. Or are you still in Brisbane?
No, back in chilly Canberra.
Yeah.
Gazing at the frost.
Oh, mate. I saw it's below zero there again today, isn't it?
It will be for the next 3 months, yeah.
Oh, mate, you can look forward to thawing out sometime in September.
Yeah, that's usually it. I think it's going to be a maximum of about 6 today, I think. Yeah, that's great.
So, you had an up-close look at ScoMo on the road. We're probably less than a year away, you'd think, from an election. Have you picked up any themes as to how he's going to play it over the coming year, the PM?
Very simple, Dave. Jobs and housing is his mantra. He sort of says the Liberal Party will be, under his leadership, the party of the suburbs and the region. So it's just going to be very bread and butter type stuff. Look, travelling with him, there's no one screaming or yelling at him, and I think you can get the impression there's no sort of demand to throw this government out. It's not like that out there at all. So. You'd have to think they'd get back in if there's an election now. There's just not a lot for Labor to work with. I mean, even with the borders, the Prime Minister's shifted gear on the borders. He's gone from sort of pushing to into. Sorry, who's the dog?
There's Barney again.
Yeah, gone from pushing international borders to sorry. I've lost my train of thought. To playing it really safe on borders now, and sort of adopting what the states were doing because it worked for the states. Now that doesn't make it right, but it'll probably make it politically successful. And there wasn't. I didn't see one person come up here and say, "I demand you open international."
I got to say, we've not had a single text about that issue at all.
No.
Not one.
No.
Not one.
But,
the one issue we get.
It's quite a serious issue with the business community.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The one thing I reckon he's vulnerable on is the vaccination program. I think that's been the one thing in the last month where people have been going, what are the feds doing? Where are the promised vaccines? Why haven't we had some sort of education or awareness campaign about it? But why aren't Labor just purely trying to sort of go after him on that front?
Oh, they do a lot on it. I guess, sort of barely a day goes by when the Labor Party doesn't mention what they call the shambolic or the bungled vaccine rollout. I was speaking to someone in Labor yesterday about it, actually, but they said it doesn't seem to be resonating in support for them. And you notice when it all sort of fell off the rails a month or so ago when the AstraZeneca clotting problems emerged and then the stuff didn't arrive from overseas, the Prime Minister got all the states together to share the burden, if you like. And so a lot of the states have got their act together now, got these hubs going. So it's I know here in the ACT, for example, it's going pretty well. But when we were up in Queensland last week, people were actually jumping on Palaszczuk up there because she hadn't set up a hub. Saying, we've got them everywhere else. Where's our hub?
Yeah, right.
So Morrison sort of subtly deflected the blame onto the Premier up there. They're blaming her up there, not him. But I agree. It is a big shortcoming, and that's why I still think there won't be an election this year, Dave. Unless the vaccine rollout sort of miraculously speeds up. But it is getting there. I mean, I know I missed my appointment on Tuesday when I was talking to you because I was away, and I tried to rebook, and it was 3 months before I could get back into the hub here. So, there's no shortage of people now lining up for it, but it's the supply, I think. Is the
We're in the same age bracket too, aren't we? You're an AstraZeneca, Phil?
Yeah, I'm an AZ, yes.
I'm an AZ. Old Phil here, he's a whippersnapper. He's on the Pfizer.
I will.
I'm on nothing. That's what I'm on.
Yeah. You won't get yours till Christmas.
Yeah, exactly right.
Next year.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right.
You won't even be 40 then, though. It's annoying.
But it is important, though. But it is important. I mean, there is this, we're living in the gilded cage, and we are sort of artificially now, sort of cut off from the rest of the world. I think it is a bit dangerous, this sense of security now that's settled in Australia. If this thing gets away from us again in here, there'd be a stampede for a vaccine, I reckon.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And you just can't live behind closed borders forever. I mean, the Prime Minister said at the start of the year in a speech in March, he said, we've got to start living with this thing as if it's a bad flu. He said, once we get all our elderly and vulnerable vaccinated, we've got to start taking a few risks. And living with it as if it's a bad flu. Now, the head of Virgin Airlines said something similar to that this week, and he slapped her down. So it shows you he's completely changed tack on this now. He's gone for the abundance of caution approach that the states.
Must be election time.
Must be election time, that's right.
Good on you, Phil.
Cheers, Phil.
Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review. A few texts coming through on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line.
Yeah, we're getting some good ones. This is in relation to today's Meat Tray Friday, inspired by former President Obama. Well, actually, you always call former presidents presidents still. You don't call them former presidents. So inspired by President Barack Obama, confirming that the US authorities are genuinely still looking at a couple of instances where UFOs have been seen. We're asking you for Meat Tray Friday. Tell us your own brushes with the unexplained. What about this? In the UK, my great-aunt saw her brother waving at her from the landing on her stairs. Sometime later, she received the call to say that her brother had just passed away, but he lived here in South Australia. What about that?
Wow.
Sue in Christie's Beach says, I looked in the mirror when I was little, maybe 4, and a much older person looked back at me. I know that I didn't imagine it. What about that? It's like a picture of Dorian Gray.
It's right on 7 o'clock, 5AA News time. I'm going to bring you up to speed with the latest on the BBC investigation into the BBC's interview with Princess Diana, the famous Martin Bashir interview that has now been discredited. We'll tell you why. Prince William's response coming up as well. Also, Chris Moy from the AMA on the serious case of blood clotting here in South Australia.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny 23 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Purie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse. It brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia and isolation that I remember from those final years with her.
Prince William's response to an inquiry into the BBC Princess Diana interview in 1995. The inquiry concluding journalist Martin Bashir acted in a deceitful way, faking documents to secure the interview, with the broadcaster failing to meet its high standards of integrity and transparency. The BBC have apologised. There's been a house fire at Hackham West. The MFS were called to Milan Crescent around midnight. 2 occupants were treated for minor smoke inhalation before being taken to hospital. The damage bill could top $200,000. A police blitz on QR codes has seen a surge in COVID check-ins across SA. Compliance has jumped 55% after last week's announcement Operation Trace would track patrons and business owners. 6.78 million weekly check-ins before the crackdown has increased to more than 10.5 million. Investigations are continuing into another 6 blood clot cases linked to the AstraZeneca jab, which includes 2 South Australians. A 53-year-old man is in intensive care at the RA after reporting severe abdominal pain. There's a second probable case in an 87-year-old woman. Chief Health Officer Professor Nicola Spurrier says the benefits of the jab still outweigh the risks.
I think it's important for everyone to realise that every vaccination comes with a potential risk. And in fact, every medication has a potential side effect, but we have to weigh up the risks and benefits. And so when people are thinking about getting the COVID vaccine, it's important for them to think about the personal risks to them and their family of having COVID.
GPs believe they could be doing more to help with the COVID vaccine rollout if they were given more supplies. Thousands of AstraZeneca shots are sitting unused at some Commonwealth-run clinics, struggling to fill appointments. Royal Australian College of General Practitioners Vice President Bruce Willett says most people are turning to their doctors to get the jab so they can air any safety concerns prior.
So we could just spend some time explaining the relative risk that it's safe to go ahead and get the vaccine. The chances of having a problem with the vaccine are less than 1 in a quarter of a million versus potentially 1% death rate from COVID. Most people, if you talk them through the issues around it, are really happy to go ahead and get the vaccine.
Israeli and Palestinian forces have agreed to a ceasefire to end almost 2 weeks of violence. A Hamas official has confirmed there will be a mutual and simultaneous truce with Israel beginning at 8:30 a.m. this morning. More than 240 people have been killed in the conflict, which has seen Hamas firing thousands of rockets into southern Israel and Israel launching airstrikes. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide has made 3 changes for tomorrow's twilight clash against Melbourne, with Taylor Walker, Ned McHenry and Nick Murray all coming into the side. Meantime, Captain Rory Sloane has told Rowie if he could change one thing to the game, he'd actually like to make the season longer.
I like the idea of a really long season and a really short pre-season. So I'd play probably everyone twice, 36 games, maybe shorten the games a little, go for a longer season, and have a really short pre-season.
Still on footy, Port Adelaide will trim its squad back to 22 later today. The Power have brought in Trent McKenzie, Jared Leonard, Dan Houston and Lockie Jones, but they lose Tom Cleary and Orazio Fantasia to injury. Aussie Formula One driver Daniel Ricciardo admits he's been left frustrated after practice for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Honestly, from behind the wheel, quite frustrating, because I'd cross the line, I'd be like, yeah, it was probably a decent lap, and it was like, yeah, you're P12 or P15 or even at one stage P17.
Yeah, let's hope we can get up there. There's a new outright leader in the opening round of the US PGA Championship in South Carolina. Canadian Corey Connors has just made a birdie on the difficult par 4 15th and is now 4 under, putting him one shot clear of the chasing pack. North Queensland is into the top 8 in the NRL after a brilliant second half saw them overpower Newcastle 36-20. Meantime, controversial footballer Israel Folau is set to announce he wants to resurrect his sporting career at a rugby league club on the Gold Coast. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
Good morning. At Para Hills this morning, we've got a burst water main. Crews working on that at the moment. McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Crayford, the freeway up track, a broken down truck just before the tunnel speeds are reduced there. Getting busy on the drive in Karata Park. South Road busy from Anzac Highway to Everard Avenue. That's as you're heading towards Mile End. And a couple of speed cameras this morning. Anzac Highway, Karata Park and Blacks Road at Gillis Plains. Win a $3.4 million grand prize at South Brighton with a Hospital Research Foundation home lottery. Visit homelottery.com.au. Licence M13989. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A mostly sunny Friday, 23. Much the same tomorrow, 23. And Sunday also 23. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Investigations are continuing into another 6 blood clot cases linked to the AstraZeneca jab. A 53-year-old man is in intensive care at the RAA after reporting severe abdominal pain. There's a second probable case in an 87-year-old woman. Here is Professor Nicola Spurrier.
I think it's important for everyone to realise that every vaccination comes with a potential risk. And in fact, every medication has a potential side effect.
For the meat tray this morning, we'd offer up the opportunity for you to tell us about the unexplained things you've seen. Just things you've seen that you can't explain.
You know, my wife's convinced that she saw the Loch Ness Monster.
Really?
Not something she ever put in an election pamphlet when
No.
she was still in the old job.
No. Would the member for Adelaide please explain the time she claims to have seen a giant mythical dragon in a Scottish lake? Ben in Christie's Beach, good morning.
This is a friend of a friend story. Story my dad told me, and my dad's he's not crazy. He's a vegetarian, but he's not crazy.
That's an excellent qualifier.
That's fantastic.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 7, Police Commissioner Grant Stevens after 7:30 on Operation Trace, the QR code crackdown. We'll talk the exhumation of the Somerton man with him as well and more. We've got a meat tray to give away today, thanks to Gary and Emily Churchill. All the great staff at Churchill's Butchery have helped to put this one together. You can find them at Marrittville Shopping Centre or in the Bayside Village at Glenelg. We're asking you about unexplained phenomena you've seen. Just this week, 60 Minutes in the US interviewed 2 former pilots that were a party to some declassified video that most people will have seen, even if you can't exactly place it, in the last decade. And they were incredibly compelling to listen to. Then Barack Obama lent his voice to the conversation, saying there are things that we simply cannot explain that we've videotaped and seen. And we're getting stories, David, that simply cannot be explained either.
Yes, and some of them are quite entertaining. I like this one from Bill Dimmu in Blackwood. He says, my great unexplained event is the 2007 AFL Grand Final. I still can't work it out, and I'm still recovering. Happy Friday, boys. That's great, Bill. And I've got to say, mate, feel exactly the same way about 2017.
Yep. I think they count. They're unexplained phenomena. 9 minutes after 7.
Michelle says, good morning. My greatest unexplained phenomenon was last year when there was no toilet paper due to paranoid stupid people.
That's a great one. I like that. I think that's right up there. 8223 0000 is the number. Now, if you were to sit down and off the top of your head list the most important and compelling interviews of all time, I suspect this one would be right up there among them.
Your husband renewed his relationship with Mrs. Camilla Parker Bowles. Were you aware of that?
Yes, I was. But I wasn't in a position to do anything about it.
What evidence did you have that their relationship was continuing even though you were married?
A woman's instinct is a very good one.
So you were isolated?
Very much so.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
It's an iconic moment, and as you said earlier, one that changed the perception of Prince Charles and the monarchy. And it coloured the coverage of Princess Diana from that point on.
It is the number one reason why a lot of people do not like the future King of England, the future King of Australia.
Yep. What has been revealed, though, overnight in an internal investigation conducted by the BBC with the assistance of a former judge, the retired judge, Lord Dyson, found that Martin Bashir, the man who conducted the interview, you might be familiar with, he did the infamous Michael Jackson interview over a decade ago, acted in a deceitful way and faked documents to obtain the interview. So what he did to get introduced to and help convince Princess Diana to conduct the interview, he spoke with her brother, Earl Spencer, and showed him forged documents that showed that people in Princess Diana's circle were being paid to surveil her, were paid informants.
Which wasn't true.
Wasn't true. Gave the sense, effectively, that there's no one she could trust. And this is what was going on in her inner circle. Now,
making it creating more of an impetus for her to want to speak out.
That's right. For her to feel like, we'll stuff them. That's what your natural reaction would be, well, stuff them. I'm not playing nice when they're not. Now, one of the more extraordinary things that the BBC played, and it was on Sky News overnight, was what are the guys who TV stations? They're people that mock up graphics. He got told by Martin Bashir, "Can you mock up this group of accounts, things that look like a business statement of expenses?" And he had no idea what it was for, and it was for giving to Earl Spencer to say, "Have a look at this. This is what's going on in your sister's life at the moment. She's being surveilled. There are paid informants. She can't trust anyone. She needs to talk to me." It's been discredited. It's now a disgraced interview, and Prince William has not held back in talking about it in the last 40 minutes.
It is welcomed that the BBC accepts Lord Dyson's findings in full, which are extremely concerning. That BBC employees lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother, made lurid and false claims about the royal family, which played on her fears and fueled paranoia, displayed woeful incompetence when investigating complaints and concerns about the programme, and were evasive in their reporting to the media and covered up what they knew from their internal investigation. It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said. The interview was a major contribution to making my parents' relationship worse and has since hurt countless others. It brings indescribable sadness to know that the BBC's failures contributed significantly to her fear, paranoia and isolation that I remember from those final years with her.
Wow, that's quite the bollocking, and every word of it is valid.
Yep.
Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Prince Harry issued a statement too a short time ago. He said this, "Our mother was an incredible woman who dedicated her life to service. She was resilient, brave and unquestionably honest. The ripple effect of a culture of exploitation and unethical practices ultimately took her life. To those who have taken some form of accountability, thank you for owning it. That is the first step towards justice and truth. Yet what deeply concerns me is that practices like these, and even worse, are still widespread today. Then and now, it's bigger than one outlet, one network or one publication. Our mother lost her life because of this, and nothing has changed. By protecting her legacy, we protect everyone and uphold the dignity with which she lived her life. Let's remember who she was and what she stood for."
And again, 100% true. But hearing William talk and just seeing his sort of methodical and very reasoned manner makes it even more devastating for the BBC, because you can't argue with the guy.
Oh,
yeah, and he, unlike his brother, he hasn't been sort of out there inviting criticism on all sorts of other fronts. So to have
prior to this, what was the strongest statement Prince William had made about anything?
I can't remember a thing.
He doesn't.
No, he plays everything with a straight bat.
He's like the Queen.
Yeah, he totally is like the Queen.
He conducts himself like the Queen because he's the future monarch. He doesn't go out and make outlandish statements and criticise people or lecture people. He is here I think this will have a profound impact on the BBC.
Well, and they're getting their comeuppance too, because they do a good line in Sanctimony over there. The apparently pure as the driven snow, national taxpayer-funded broadcaster. You know, I mean, I'm certainly not suggesting that there haven't been times when the tabloid end of the British press hasn't deserved to face scrutiny, particularly over the phone hacking scandal, which was a disgrace. And News International, quite rightly, had to explain the actions of some rogue journalists there. But the BBC, you know, snooty organisation that is, thinks it's got a monopoly on ethics. Well, those ethics have just been blown out of the water by the future king.
Absolutely right. I think our man in London summed it up, how extraordinary what's transpired in the last 12 hours, what he said last night watching it. Extraordinary watching the BBC forensically investigating the BBC for a BBC interview and a BBC cover-up. It's what's happened.
That's right.
15 after 7. Mel in Tapperoo's on the line. Morning to you, Mel.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks,
Mel.
We lived in a house at Prospect which was extremely, extremely haunted. Anyway, the little one used to come in and say, so-and-so told me I can't do this, can't do that. He had to have a stint overnight at the Children's Hospital and was really stressed out. Anyway, I had to leave the room. And then later on that night, about 2 hours later, the nurse came out and said, oh, he was really upset until his big brother came in, sat with him and held his hand, put the blanket on him, comforted him. I said, what big brother? The big brother that came in to help him. I said, he doesn't have a big brother. I said, did he look like this, this and this? He said, yes. Did he say his name? Yes. Why? I said, that's a ghost. He went, oh, my God.
Oh,
This house is haunted by a family. I won't mention names because it's a very well-known family. And we have had a little girl who died there, the father who strangled my grandson, things like this all the time. So I said to the neighbour, did anybody die in this house? And he just stared at me and said, what do you mean? And I said, well, somebody called so-and-so has told the little one, you mustn't go near the road, you mustn't do that. And he goes, oh, my God. He said, that kid died 6 years, be about 6 years before that.
Hey, Mel, don't put that on the real estate brochure. It might hurt resale.
Sounds a bit like a hotel in the middle of Wyoming that Stanley Kubrick made a film about.
Yeah, it does. Doesn't it?
Yeah, but this one was very protective of the little one.
Oh, well, that's something, I guess.
That
Still
is
a little
amazing.
unsettling. Mel, what a great story.
Well, I reckon we got a front runner there.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you for that, Mel. Our Alberton correspondent, Dave Lloyd's, weighed in on this. He says he was at a gathering at a friend's house. I chatted with a nice couple. Even said to my wife, they're nice, good people. Later found out they're both Adelaide Crows members. How I like them is completely inexplicable. So there you go. Mysteries everywhere at the moment. 17 after 7. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal on 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles. Dave Potter Honda.
Look out for burst water main this morning at Para Hills. Crews on site trying to fix that this morning. McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Crayfors, the freeway up track. A broken down truck just before the tunnel. Speeds are reduced there. Busy for the drive-in at Karata Park. South Road busy from Anzac Highway to Everard Avenue. That's as you're heading towards Mile End. And speed cameras this morning. South Terrace Paraka and Galway Avenue at Marston. Telstra's 7-day frenzy is on. To grab yourself a great deal from your favourite brands, come in store or visit Telstra online today. Hurry, ends May 24. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi there, I'm Grishma, a Specsavers optometrist. Did you know that every Specsavers is locally owned and operated by an optometrist, just like me? We believe eye tests should reveal more, not cost more, which is why we include an OCT advanced 3D eye scan with every eye test at no extra charge. Does your optometrist? Experience the Specsavers difference and book your eye test today. We're here to look after your eye health and keep you safe in store. Visit specsavers.com.au.
This used to be in every car. A little lever on the dash, left for cold air, right for hot air. But no matter how many times Jenny slides it from left to right, the car's just as cold. And no matter how many nights her and her mum sleep in this car, it's just as uncomfortable. For every person you see sleeping on the streets, there are 13 more you don't see. So donate to the Red Shield Appeal today at salvationarmy.org.au to help the salvos leave no one in need.
Not all superheroes wear capes. In fact, you can save the world with a single phone call and a commitment to stop buying plastic bottles.
That's right. Join Puretap's War on Waste by reducing single-use plastics. Fill up your bottles and tanks with great tasting Puretap water.
Oh, you just pictured it then.
I start every day with a glass of it, straight out of my Puretap at home.
Oh, magnificent. That
Nothing
is
like
pure
crisp,
sustainability.
cold water in the morning. It's good.
Your
Racing.
nickname could be Dave Pure Sustainability Penberthy.
Or just Puretap Penberthy.
Puretap Penberthy.
Yeah, why
It's got
not?
a nicer ring to
Why
it.
not? Changed my name by Depot. Gary Hocking did that, didn't
Whiskers.
he? Whiskers.
And when you think of that, the money you'll save, it is pure value as well.
I got my Puretap guy coming around, I think, next week to change my filter.
Yeah.
Does it once a year. It's fantastic. How good's this? You can get a Puretap from only $49 up front. That is pure value.
That's a designer tap installation and filters for 2 years on a great payment plan. Call Puretap on 133502 or go to puretap.com.au. Some T's and C's apply.
Just like your favourite sports team, small businesses perform best when they're well supported. Nissan Fleet delivers tailored vehicle solutions to support your business goals. Visit your local Nissan dealer or search Nissan Fleet today.
A day out at the movies just got better. Come to Wallace Cinema and see movies like they should be seen on the big screen. Hear movies like they should be heard in Quake sound and taste candy bar prices like you have never seen. With Choc Tops handmade with Golden North ice cream, Fruit Chocks, Fluorio milk and so much more. Wallace Family Values, bringing value to your family. Mitcham, Mount Barker, Piccadilly, Noarlunga and Mainline Drive-In. Wallace.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 minutes after 7, a 53-year-old South Australian man is in intensive care, having been officially diagnosed, suffering a dangerous blood clot linked to his AstraZeneca vaccine injection. Dr. Chris Moy is the National Vice President of the AMA and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Dr. Moy, good morning to you.
G'day, guys.
Thanks for coming on, Dr. Moy. We spent a lot of yesterday's program talking with the head of the SAMRI, giving our listeners a chance to put their questions direct to him about any queries or concerns that they had about the particularly AstraZeneca. This case, while particularly concerning for the man, is still completely in line with the statistics, isn't it? The estimates were one in roughly 100,000 to 200,000 vaccinations ran the risk of blood clots, and statistically we are in line with that in SA, are we not?
Yeah, no, that's about right. First up, can I say my thoughts to the individual and the family, and I hope he's getting better. And I think that's the important thing, that it is around about that sort of rate, around about the 100,000 rate, but and it does appear that in Australia we're actually getting better at recognising it is something that's only occurring at about that day 4, maybe up to day 28. It's not the initial symptoms that you get. And the other important thing is that now we're getting better at diagnosing it quickly with the blood test, but also treating it. You'll see that, despite the fact that, it is a worrying thing for people, and I understand that it's occurring at about this rate, but essentially, so far, the vast majority of people have just gone home and gone back to work. Unfortunately, we have had one death in Australia, but that's in amongst about 2.5 million people who've been vaccinated with this vaccine.
It's quite unusual because you think about and I did my piece about it in the Tiser this morning, there are 7 different flu vaccines available in Australia made by 4 different companies. And for so many people, it's become second nature to get a flu vaccine each year. Most of us don't even know the name or the manufacturer of the flu vaccine that we take. Yet AstraZeneca would have to be probably the most discussed vaccine in modern history in Australia. How do you, as a GP on the front line, how do you deal with convincing people that it's actually going to be all right? Because there seems to be almost like a psychosomatic concern that people have about this that isn't based in any of the actual data.
Look, I think these are anxious times, which is why we're hearing about this. And certainly, the irony is that, and although there's different types of clotting, and it's important that when we talk about the pill, and the blood clotting is occurring at about 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 2,000 per year for everybody who's on the oral contraceptive pill. We're not having this discussion, but it's because it's anxious, and there's a bit because of it's associated with COVID. Everything's got this heightened sense of anxiety associated with it. Now, part of the issue at the moment is that people, unfortunately, are just hearing the news about this sort of thing, and the focus has been on this sort of thing, but also there has been a bit of negativity about the whole vaccine rollout, and that's something we've been in the media talking about, that we've got to disconnect any sort of politicization or negative media about it from, in fact, the real story, which is that we remain at risk as a country, and as a country, what that means is that we're at risk of outbreaks that have started to occur in South Korea and Taiwan and other countries, and that we are at risk, and we are sitting ducks, and also that essentially that in the longer term, the other thing is that there is this positive story in that every person vaccinated is protected from getting serious disease, and it brings us closer to be able to make those important decisions about relaxing things and potentially even opening up our country at some stage and being able to travel, which in itself, the fact that we've been living in this sort of fortress mentality, which has been very important, has its own consequences as well.
Yeah, it does. Dr. Moy, the National Vice President of the AMA, always great to catch up with you. Thanks for that.
Always a pleasure.
There's two elements to this, I think, that we sometimes undercook with regard to the comparisons to things like a contraceptive pill or jumping on a plane and them having a greater statistical likelihood of receiving blood clots. And it is two things. One is people are, for the first time, being told they have to do this. And the second part is they're being told they have to do it very quickly. Like, time is of the essence, and you must do it. We're not. I mean, they're not legally compelled, but socially compelled to do it, which is right. But I think that is a multiplying factor on the anxiety, the natural anxiety around the side effects to anything. Yeah. So, well, hang on. Can we just hold? Can I just suss this out? And we're being told you don't have time to suss it out. So I think that's why we're making sometimes determinations that aren't borne out by the stats. I mean, they're not consistent with the stats, should I say, because if we were this concerned about the frequency of ill effects, there's about a million other things we'd never do.
Yes, exactly. Having said that, since I had the shot, almost 2 weeks ago, it'll be 2 weeks next Tuesday, I've been paying much more attention to how I feel.
Yeah,
and I'm not the sort of person who, crikey, I'm not like you, Will. I'm not someone who's fastidious on the health front.
I've had
checkups.
I'm just a hypochondriac.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I felt abdominal pains coming on just by being in the same room as you. I mean, is this thing seeping through the ether? What's going on?
That's right.
All right, let's talk sport.
I didn't know whether it was AstraZeneca or that Tindaloo we had at the Jasmine the other night.
Oh, it doesn't bear thinking about. Used vehicle stock always changing at North Point Tony Hillcrest. Prospect at Port Augusta. It is the North Point Way. Rory Sloane sat down with Rowie on the sports show last night, and he came up with what can only be described as a pretty radical idea for the future of the AFL season.
Rory, you are Gil McLaughlin. You're running the AFL. What would you change?
I like this question. Wow, I wouldn't change too much, but then I'm going to come out with this. Yeah, I love the game, but if you really press me for something, I kind of like the idea. You're going to hate this. I like the idea of a really long season and a really short pre-season. So I'd play probably everyone twice, 36 games, maybe shorten the games a little, go for a longer season, and have a really short pre-season. I'm talking a month pre-season, and then your games become your sort of build up. That's really extreme. It'll never happen, but I kind of like that idea.
I wonder what the AFLPA would make of that, Sloaney's idea. So if you work it out, there's
Danger. I think Danger would hate it. He's all about shortening games.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's 36, so a 36-week season.
Well, actually, there's 18 teams, so it's 34 games.
Yes, of course, because you don't play yourself. What if Eddie gets his way and it becomes a 20-team competition?
Well, then you've got
38
games, which is like the Premier League.
That's true. But if you factor in a 4-week pre-season, presumably you train prior to the pre-season, and then finals, you're looking at about 4 weeks annual leave if you're an AFL player.
Unless, of course, they did things like that they've never contemplated before that would be radical, introducing midweek fixtures. So you play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday on 4 or 5 occasions over the course of the year. I know what he's saying. It'd be much fairer if you played everyone home and away.
See, I actually think what we do need is Premier League-style relegation. Because how funny would it be, say, Collingwood keep going like the busted that they are this year, end up slinking down into the SANFL, and then they have to play in the SANFL next year in a different colour jumper because they can't have a clash jumper with the Maggies.
I was wondering where you're going with that. I like that.
What do you think?
That's a tremendous idea.
Their new board member, she's interesting.
All new Kluger hybrids about to arrive
She
at North Point.
loves Footscray.
Yeah, why not? About to arrive at North Point Toyota. Pre-order to avoid disappointment. It is the
I'm
North
getting
Point
one of them.
way. Oh, good.
I'm getting a Toyota Kluger.
How about you? What'd you go?
Embarrassing.
At Spotlight, a window's what you make it with a massive 40% off the entire range of blockout curtains, 50% off the entire range of timber and faux wood Venetian blinds, so you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Curtis here. I believe produce that's grown better tastes better, which is why at Coles we pick all our fresh fruit and veg from Aussie farms first.
Like new season Aussie Hass avocados, 4 for just $5.
Coles, value the Australian way.
Offer ends Thursday.
Now at Harvey Norman, get up to $500 in Harvey Norman gift cards with selected home entertainment products. Trade in your old tech and double the bonus. Up to $250 in Harvey Norman gift cards on selected home entertainment products. Plus double the bonus up to $500 when you trade in your old technology. That's right, up to $500 when you trade in your old technology at Harvey Norman. Trade in and upgrade your TV or soundbar and get double the bonus. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details. Now at Harvey Norman.
What's the trusted Australian off-roading brand made for Australian conditions? TJM. They know the South Australian bush because it's their backyard, just as it's yours. So who better to give the best advice on what equipment you need? Whether you're a novice or an experienced off-roader, see the TJM team. They stand by their products and have been doing it since 1973. Get into TJM today and get off-road tomorrow. Nailsworth and Clovelly Park, tjmsa.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny today, 23 with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra Clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
Princes William and Harry have issued statements after a new report found the BBC failed to meet its high standards of integrity and transparency over that now infamous 1995 interview with Princess Diana. The inquiry concluded journalist Martin Bashir acted in a deceitful way and faked documents to secure it. Both Bashir and the broadcaster have apologised. The Duke of Cambridge says it's caused so much damage in the quarter of a century since it aired.
But what saddens me most is that if the BBC had properly investigated the complaints and concerns first raised in 1995, my mother would have known that she had been deceived. She was failed not just by a rogue reporter, but by leaders at the BBC who looked the other way rather than asking the tough questions. It is my firm view that this Panorama programme holds no legitimacy and should never be aired again.
Prince Harry says the ripple effect of a culture of exploitation and unethical practices ultimately took her life. 2 people have been treated for smoke inhalation following a house fire at Hackham West. The alarm was raised at Milan Crescent around midnight. The damage bill is estimated at $200,000. Doctors say people should seek advice if they're concerned about getting the AstraZeneca vaccine. 2 South Australians are among the latest to report blood clots. A 53-year-old man is in intensive care. 1 in 100,000 vaccinations run the risk of blood clots. Dr Chris Moy from the AMA has told 5AA Breakfast most people don't notice any side effects.
Despite the fact that it is a worrying thing for people, and I understand that it's occurring at about this rate, but essentially, so far, the vast majority of people have just gone home and gone back to work. Unfortunately, we have had 1 death in Australia, but that's in amongst about 2.5 million people who've been vaccinated with this vaccine.
More South Australians are reaching for their mobile phones when entering a shop or restaurant. The police blitz on QR codes has seen a 55% jump in electronic COVID check-ins. The threat of hefty fines for patrons and business owners resulting in more than 10.5 million scans in a week. Humanitarian groups are welcoming the latest developments out of the Middle East. Israeli and Palestinian forces have reached what has been described as an unconditional ceasefire, which will take effect next hour. At least 232 people in Gaza and 12 in Israel have been killed in airstrikes and rocket fire. World Vision Australia's Peter Strong says it's vital to start getting aid into Gaza.
With more than 72,000 people displaced and 800,000 without water, it's now essential that organisations such as World Vision get safe and unhindered humanitarian access to provide essentials such as water, food and sanitation.
Audi has hired hundreds of security guards ahead of its annual ski sale. The supermarket chain says it will take a zero-tolerance approach to staff abuse and customers who get a bit too physical while jostling for cheap ski gear. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Fluorio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy. Adelaide midfielder Matt Crouch hasn't given up hope of playing again this season despite getting ready to have surgery today for his groin injury. The 26-year-old telling 10 News he'd still like to get back.
Talking to the surgeon, he still thinks that I could play potentially this year, so it's still to be played out.
The Crows welcome back Ned McHenry and Taylor Walker for tomorrow's clash against Melbourne. Meantime, the Power have named a squad for Sunday's clash against Collingwood with Dan Houston back, but Tom Cleary and Orazio Fantasia are both injured. Still on footy, and Sydney coach John Longmire says he's still wary of Fremantle despite the Dockers being without gun midfielder Andrew Brayshaw on Sunday.
They've got a great mix of youth and experience throughout the whole team, and particularly in the midfield. And we really like the way they play as far as they're going to be really competitive. So we need to bring our best, and we're looking forward to that.
Former Australian cricket captain Ian Chappell thinks Cricket Australia should release its South Africa report to put the ball tampering scandal to bed. The infamous 2018 incident is back in the spotlight following comments from Cam Bancroft implying the bowlers knew what was going on. Chappell telling Wide World of Sports it's clear there were more people in on the act.
The fact that only 3 guys got pinged, I'm not surprised that one of the 3 has probably suddenly decided, look, I'm a bit sick of copping all the flack for this when other people were involved.
And in some golf to finish, Canadian Corey Connors is now 2 shots clear late in the opening round of the USPGA Championship in South Carolina. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
At Elizabeth East, a car stopped and is blocking traffic on Midway Road at Kincaid Road. That's near the roundabout, causing a few headaches. Crayford's the freeway up track and broken down track just before the tunnel with speeds reduced there. And Para Hills crews working on a burst water main, McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Getting busy, Karata Park, South Road busy from Anzac Highway to Everard Avenue. That's as you're heading towards Mile End. And speed cameras today, Robe Terrace North Adelaide and Langman Grove at Felixstowe. Have you been dreaming of an Audi? Now you can turn your dreams into a reality with the Audi End of Financial Year event. On now at your preferred Audi dealer. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's End of Financial Year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
23 is the top today and mostly sunny, much the same tomorrow, 23. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
We hear you. You've lived enough to know you want more. More time, more freedom, more living. Introducing Encore Apartments from ECH, a new vertical retirement village at Modbury, opposite Tea Tree Plaza. 77 2-bedroom apartments, all with private balconies, plus on-site cafe, fitness centre and community garden. Book an appointment to see the new display suite at Parkside or visit echencore.com.au.
Look around your house and yard. If you see old tools, broken bike frames, an old fridge and even that old car, don't look at it as junk, look at it as dollar signs. At Nor Metals, our priority is to give you the best value for your scrap metal disposal. We offer cash for scrap Monday to Friday and Saturday mornings for a range of different steel supplies and car components, including bodies and radiators. Get cash for your scrap at Nor Metals, 255 Grand Junction Road, Ottaway.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Couriers. Don't send it, ace it.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 minutes to 8. John Blake before 8 o'clock. We'll get the weekend's weather in just a moment. And also, the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, not too far away. Lots to talk to the Commissioner about, including the results of Operation Trace and the latest on the Summited Man mystery.
A couple of texts here about the question of vaccines. One here from Andre in Marino. Morning, Dave and Will. I've had my first COVID jab without any reaction. I feel sad that the man has reacted with blood clots, but I guess that thousands of people have reactions to all sorts of things every year. I, for one, suffer allergic reactions to Crows supporters.
Oh, well.
Good on you, Andre. I've got to say, Dave from Alberton, a lot of people from the port side of the divide showing love for Zane Kirkwood, who's bowing out tomorrow for Sturt after 222 games. Obviously got his start there. Feels to me like it's going to be a special afternoon at Unley tomorrow when the Blues play Centrals. And it's one of those nice things about SANFL. I know that the marketing people wouldn't like it, but sometimes I feel like the slogan for the SANFL should be part of something smaller. Like there's something nice
absolutely.
in the corporate world of AFL where everything's about money and, you know, renaming stadiums after people who make comics in America. There's something uniquely South Australian about just putting on your jeans and getting your old woolen jacket out and the mangy scarf that your grandma knitted for you in 1976 and walking to your local ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having maybe a can of West End draft and talking nonsense and liking the fact that no one gets a 50-metre penalty and that there's not as many umpiring decisions that drive you mad and being able to kick the ball at quarter time and half time with your kids, like that's good.
Yeah, it's a different atmosphere, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Do you think there's a big city invigoration policy coming from the state government? I was intrigued to read this morning that research commissioned by the Department of Premier and Cabinet had just been released that says there's been an 8.2% decline in CBD mobile phone detections, which seems to be the new measure of things. We always said sewage samples has become a thing in recent years, and now mobile phone detections, like you can trace the arsonist with them. They're using it to trace how many people turn up in the city, 8.2% down from the pre-lockdown March quarter last year. According to the report, working from home will continue at high levels even after COVID's impact wanes. The office occupancy number is actually really good in Adelaide compared to the rest of the country, 70%, but it's stagnated there. Previously, pre-COVID, it was at 86%. So we're talking over a third of offices and spaces in the city being unoccupied. It's a Deloitte Access Economics report said that the pandemic decline has hit hardest in CBD areas that rely heavily on workers and visitors, places like Hindley Street, the East End and the Central Market Precinct. It feels like the groundwork's being laid for some city invigoration policy to be handed out.
Well, we mentioned the other day what a disgrace King William Street is as well. I mean, there's a whole bunch of challenges facing the city, and I, for the life of me, don't know, is there a finish date for what's happening on North Terrace? Or
No.
Is North Terrace, should we just stop referring to it as our preeminent cultural boulevard and just start describing it as the Festival of Roadworks? I think there's a bigger issue about whether the City Council is of itself professional enough to champion the interests of the city. And I think that one of the best examples of that, and I think it's a bit of an indictment on both sides of politics, and probably also the fact that both parties are led by supporters of the Port Adelaide Football Club, and as a result, they don't feel any kind of innate disgust at the manner in which the most popular organisation in South Australia, i.e. the Adelaide Football Club, has been treated by the council, where you've had a gaggle of NIMBYs who've been able to treat an organisation that most South Australians love, and it's got more members than any other organisation in the entire state, and they've come to be treated like a pariah. Can you imagine that happening to the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas?
No, of course
Can you
not.
Can you imagine that happening to Man United? But it's happened here in Adelaide, And what's Stephen Marshall and Peter Malinowskis done about it? Nothing. It should be an election issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that, the idea of having some sort of city-based hub for the Crows would just be brilliant. And in fact, if you were smart about it, you could probably also hold, rock concerts and basketball games there too.
That sounds strangely like another idea that's around the place.
But, they've just exited this space, and the supposedly grown-up tier of government has just sat back and watched nothing happen. And geez, aren't we good at mastering the art of nothing happening at times in Adelaide? And so often the people who are making nothing happen, they all occupy Town Hall.
Yep, 17 minutes to 8. There was, you've been hearing 5AA News across the morning, an arson at Merino this morning that involved some neighbours coming to help out. Olivia Grace Curran is at the scene for 9 News. Olivia, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How you going?
Yeah, we're well. So just describe what you can see.
Well, at the moment, there is a forensic police examining the scene. They've been here for a little while now. It's understood that a neighbour actually raised the alarm about just before 5:30 this morning. He was driving to work and noticed some smoke issuing from the front door of this house on Ronald Crescent. He actually raised the alarm, calling emergency services to the scene, and he himself got a hose and hosed down the front door to just make sure that fire didn't spread. Fireys say that sort of without his help, it would have really been quite a significant fire and gone up within 10 minutes. And inside that home, there were several occupants, including, there was one occupant. Another occupant had actually just left about an hour earlier. He'd gone for a walk. He'd left his elderly father inside the home. So this gentleman, he's 89 years old. He was asleep at the time. He woke up and was taken out. He's been taken to the Flinders Medical Centre. Thankfully, he wasn't injured. He's just a little bit confused and has been taken for precautionary measures. Now, it's unclear exactly what's gone on here, but police are investigating this as an arson attack. They say that a pillow had been set alight and placed at the front door. So the fire's caused damage to the door and the entrance to the home, but thankfully nothing else was really damaged, and the occupants are all safe.
That's good news, Olivia. Thank you for that. Olivia Grace Curran at Merino for 9 News. You'll be able to see the pictures on 9 tonight.
We are hoping to talk to the police commissioner soon. He's tied up with something we're not sure what it is, but he had to drop everything to attend to something else. So fingers crossed we'll be chatting to him later in the program still. Good text here from Roger and Claire. I'll tell you what, Claire really is emerging as
it seems like
Area
the hotspot.
51.
Yeah.
In the UFO department.
Lucy's doing everything she can to suggest there's nothing in it, but
I don't think went up there for the Riesling.
Yeah, well, maybe there's an answer as to why it tastes so good.
Well, this could be it.
Yeah, there's something in the soil.
Yeah, that's
Aliens.
Right. How about this? Roger writes, unexplained phenomena. Early 70s, when I was about 19, I was travelling home from Clare with a mate late at night, heading to our homes in Farrell Flat. As we crossed the hills, we were confronted with what can only be described as an extremely bright ball of light hovering on the horizon. After trying to follow it, the ball of light would move at incredibly high speed to another location. We kept tracing the ball of light for many hours until it eventually went out at a location near Porter's Lagoon. After some time sitting there waiting to see it again, we decided to go home, and as soon as we pointed the car in the direction of home, the ball of light lit up again, this time just above our car. All I can say is that the accelerator of my 1968 Cortina 440 went flat to the floor. Didn't know those cars could outrun a UFO.
Could you imagine? I was just thinking, being a UFO, being an alien, you're observing this other life and seeing someone, what it must look like to see someone racing away in a Ford Cortina. You won't believe what these things, what they're doing. Made this machine to get away from us.
That's right.
It's 13 minutes to 8. You can keep texting your stories through on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line, or you can call us on 8223 0000. Watch along on the 5AA Facebook and YouTube live streams. We're going to get a weather update in just a moment, but first we'll check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal on 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles. That's Dave Potter Honda.
At Elizabeth East, there's an abandoned car partially blocking a lane and causing a hazard on Midway Road and Kincaid Road. That's near the roundabout. Crayford, the freeway up track, a broken down truck just before the tunnel with speeds reduced. And crews working on a burst water main at Para Hills, McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Getting busy on the drive-in, Rose Park, Fullerton Road, busy city-bound, Grant Avenue to the Britannia roundabout. A couple of speed cameras to Langman Grove, Felixstowe, Dutton Terrace, Medindi. It's Amart Furniture's biggest stock take sale. Save save up to 50% off across lounges, dining, bedroom, mattresses and more. Don't miss out. Rush into Amart today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
Hi, I'm Stephen Marshall. This past year has been a tough one for every South Australian, but because of your toughness and your teamwork, we now enjoy a safer place to live, work and raise a family. We're getting on with our recovery plan, creating new industries and new jobs and investing $16.7 billion in infrastructure, health and education to make our state the best place to live in the world. My team and I will continue to work hard to create a future for all South Australians. We're on track, so thank you.
Spoken and authorised by S. Marshall, Liberal Party, Adelaide.
It's incredible. Over 50% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to live the dream in this fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. There are over 15,000 incredible prizes to win, including luxury vehicles, local getaways and so much more. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care. Licence M13989.
Gauchos. It's the iconic Argentinian restaurant that's been serving up Adelaide's best steaks for 30 years. Back when COVID hit, the Gauchos team had a ton of premium aged beef on hand, so they thought, why not let South Aussies nail the top secret Gaucho steak recipe from their very own home? So, the Gauchos at Home premium aged range and the 1647 range was created. You can now find your succulent T-bones, lean fillets, porterhouse, ribeye and Scotch fillet at all Foodlands.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Mart's, buy 3 get 1 free on Bridgestone, Copia and selected Dunlop passenger tyres. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Nine minutes to 8. Let's have a little snapshot of the weather as we head into the weekend. Amelia Mulcahy for 7 News joins us. Morning to you, Amelia.
Tim, how are we? And hello, Friday, you wonderful day. I'm so pleased you're here. And what Friday weather we've got today too. Mostly sunny day, 23 degrees. It was a cold start. Our low was 7.6. We saw that about half an hour or so. 5 degrees at Parafield, the low. And 23 degrees is the magic number over the weekend too. That's the top tomorrow and Sunday. Really just lovely sort of sunny weather over the weekend too. So great conditions if you're heading to the footy, probably a little bit warmer than what you're used to. And the Dream Big Children's Festival is on over the weekend. They've got their big family weekend, you know, with Fork in the Road at Elder Park. And they've got 35 free events. Let me try and get that one out. 35 free events. You know, to get into as well. So that one's a really, if you're wondering what to do with the kids over the weekend, have a look at that program because there's honestly something for everyone there. If you want to get the kids out of the house, I'm certainly going to take a toddler that doesn't sit still to a show, so I'll see how that goes.
Good luck with that.
Yes, hashtag pray for me. And we've got winds picking up a little bit towards the end of the weekend. So they're those northeasterly winds. When we see northerly winds, we usually see warmer temperatures as well. So warming to 24 degrees on Monday. Now that's ahead of showers with a front on Tuesday. This looks promising. I'm actually quite excited for this. Maybe 4 to 10 millimetres for the city, and we've got showers on and off sort of until Thursday. So sunny weather is great, and I'm so glad it's timed for the weekend. But yeah, really looking forward to this rain. Much of the state's seen less than 20% of their average May rainfall. So that's, anywhere from 25 to 50 millimetres below average is what we're sort of talking about. In the city, we've had about 21 millimetres. The May average is 68. Of course, the month's sort of drawing to a close, so we'd certainly love to see a lot more rain. So here's hoping that next week really delivers with a decent drop. But for now, a bit of sunshine around, get out and enjoy it.
Beautiful. Music to my ears.
Good on you, Amelia.
Wonderful weekend
you
weather.
guys.
Have a good one, Amelia.
Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News, just delivering nothing but good news at the moment. That's the
does.
perfect weather. Or rain comes in on the Monday or Tuesday, all clear for the weekend.
Yep.
Should have designed it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
6 minutes to 8. It is time for John Blake's Wrap of the Week, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Somerton man has been exhumed at the West Terrace Cemetery today, with police optimistic about the prospects of recovering DNA. His remains have been placed inside a new coffin which has been delivered to forensics. He was found on Somerton Beach in 1948, with the circumstances of his death remaining unknown.
You were there alone, lying on the beach. Someone found you there, now it's turned into a mystery. They just found you, dressed in a suit there, lying in the sun. We don't know where you're from, no ID on you, mister. They exhumed you to try and find out what they can. Until then, you'll be the Somerton man.
Protesters have taken to the streets in Tokyo demanding the Olympic Games be called off as the coronavirus outbreak in Japan worsens. A recent poll conducted by a major Japanese newspaper has revealed that more than 80% want the Games to be postponed or scrapped.
You've got the opening ceremony. There's the boxing, floor routines and track and field, the swimming and equestrian teams, and the bang, 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 the trap shooting and dreams. But all the people there, they say it's just not right. We're in a pandemic, and that's the real fight. So let's just cancel it, call it off. I think for a while that we can do without the false we flop. They don't want us going to Tokyo. People there would like a total no-show. Should give up, not go to Tokyo. I don't care if people jump up high. They don't want us going to Tokyo. I think we're gonna be alright.
After an extended term as South Australian Governor, it's been announced Hugh Van Lay will step aside in October to make way for Frances Adamson. She has a background in international relations, having worked for Foreign Affairs and as an ambassador. Miss Adamson wants to be an accessible governor for all Australians.
When Stephen Marshall looked round for someone with good background, he said, well, look what I found, Frances Adamson for me. The house is on North Terrace, and now she is the heiress. She better not be careless when replacing Hugh Van Lee.
Keep it neat. This job is sweet. The dining table's made of teeth.
So we are really hoping, with dignity she's coping. When she declares things open, Frances Adamson will be.
So we always get a little bit of a shiver up the spine when Blakey does a sketch about a governor of South Australia.
Oh, yeah.
He used to do one about Marjorie Jackson.
Can't talk about that, David. That's John Blake. We'll hear more from him after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors.
Leon Biner.
The largest number of South Australians have been vaccinated against COVID-19 in one day. Now, there's a ramp-up of what's been described as a sluggish immunisation rollout.
9 till 12 weekdays.
243,000 coronavirus vaccines have been issued after the biggest one-day rise of 9,000 doses on Tuesday. So, slowly but surely, it's happening.
as SA, as Leon Biner, as SA, as AA.
I don't have a favourite teacher because I've loved them all. They've taught me new things and I've always had fun in their class.
I've enjoyed learning about sports because I'm always focused.
My school is all these things and more. It's what makes it one of South Australia's leading primary schools. Hi, I'm Sophie, school captain at St Andrews. Join the principal for a tour on Tuesday the 25th of May at 9:30am or Saturday the 29th of May at 10am. Just Google St Andrews School.
We keep up to date with the renting legislation, so you don't have to. Hi, Susanna Toop here from Toop and Toop. As COVID-19 continues to impact everyone in our community, what is needed now more than ever is clarity. At Toop and Toop, we've opened up our weekly real estate radio show, so you can get expert advice at any time. Give us a call on 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au/landlord advice. We're here to support you if you have any questions.
At Spotlight, a window's what you make it with a massive 40% off the entire range of blockout curtains, 50% off the entire range of timber and faux wood Venetian blinds, so you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Building a fence, shed, retaining wall and so much more requires good quality steel. At Knorr Metals, we've got you covered no matter what you need. From the home handyman to structural engineer, we have steel supplies to suit what you're looking for. And if we don't, we'll source it for you quickly and at the best price. Plus, we can cut your steel on site to meet your exact measurements. No matter what you need, you'll get it at Knorr Metals, 255 Grand Junction Road, Ottaway.
Dave Potter Honda continues to prove why they're Australia's #1 Honda dealer with great early end of financial year drive-away deals. Right now, jump into a Honda executive vehicle with peace of mind of a 100-point certification, mechanical protection plan and 3 years free scheduled servicing. Experience the assurance of a Dave Potter Honda certified executive-driven vehicle, exclusive to Australia's #1 Honda dealer, Dave Potter Honda. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
9 News. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Right on 8 o'clock, 5AA News is coming up. Big local breaking at 8 coming up after 8 o'clock as well. And we have spoken with the Police Commissioner. He will be joining us after 8:30 today. So we will get him to talk about the results of Operation Trace. That is the QR code crackdown. We'll do that after 8:30, which will be just after Ryan Fitzgerald. And we will be back right after this.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny 23 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Purie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
Prince William has spoken out after a report found the BBC failed to meet its high standards of integrity and transparency over the 1995 interview with Princess Diana. The inquiry concluded journalist Martin Bashir acted in a deceitful way and forged documents to secure the explosive sit-down chat. William says the repercussions of this interview have been felt for 25 years and contributed to his mother's increasing paranoia and isolation in the final years of her life. And given the findings, the interview should never be shown again.
In an era of fake news, public service broadcasting and a free press have never been more important. These failings, identified by investigative journalists, not only let my mother down and my family down, they let the public down too.
Prince Harry has issued a statement saying their mother lost her life because of practices like this. A ceasefire deal has been reached between Israeli and Palestinian forces after more than a week of deadly violence, and it will take effect in just under half an hour. At least 232 people in Gaza and 12 in Israel have been killed in the airstrikes and rocket fire. An arson attack at Merino is under investigation. Rachel Kinlock from the MFS says a pillow was set alight and left at the front door of a home on Ronald Crescent just before 5:30 this morning.
The neighbour who noticed a small fire by the front door used a garden hose to try and put the fire out. The neighbour was also banging on the doors and windows to try and alert the occupant to the fire. On arrival, crews found a small fire by the front door. Entering the premises, firefighters found the occupant asleep and assisted him to evacuate.
He's been taken to hospital as a precaution, and 2 people have been treated for smoke inhalation following a house fire at Milan Crescent at Hackham West. The damage bill is estimated at $200,000. Doctors say we need to look at the bigger picture when it comes to the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine. There have been more cases of blood clots, including a 53-year-old South Australian man who's in intensive care. But Dr Chris Moy from the AMA has told 5AA Breakfast people shouldn't panic.
Because it's associated with COVID, everything's got this heightened sense of anxiety associated with it. We remain at risk as a country. And as a country, what that means is that we're at risk of outbreaks that have started to occur in South Korea and Taiwan, and that we are at risk and we are sitting ducks.
The police blitz on QR codes is having the desired effect. Compliance has jumped a whopping 55% since the launch of Operation Trace last week. Hefty fines will be handed out if patrons and business owners don't comply with the electronic COVID check-in requirements. There have been over 10.5 million scans in the past week. Facebook claims to have removed 14 million pieces of content deemed to be misinformation about the pandemic. The figure includes 110,000 posts created by Australian users and pages between March and December last year. A ticket to space is being auctioned off, with the highest bid sitting at more than $3.5 million. Nine's Michael Genovese has the story.
The winning bidder will be launched to the edge of outer space. They'll unbuckle and experience weightlessness for about 3 minutes before returning to Earth. Successful bidders need to weigh between 50 and 100 kilograms. It's the final seat of 6 in the Blue Origin spacecraft, set to launch from Texas in July, a project led by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos.
7 people, including a surgeon, have been charged with homicide over the death of Diego Maradona. The soccer legend passed away last November from heart failure, a fortnight after undergoing brain surgery. He was 60 years old. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide's players will train this morning as they prepare for tomorrow's big match against Melbourne at home. The Crows have received some credit for their performance against West Coast, but Captain Rory Sloane has told Rowie they can't be satisfied with honourable losses.
You're never happy with those sort of losses. I mean, they sort of hurt more in a way because you play well, we feel like we do a lot of things right and we still lose by 30 points, so there's clearly areas that are breaking down.
Still on footy, and assistant umpiring boss Michael Jennings has been elevated to the top AFL umpiring job. He replaces Hayden Kennedy, who resigned last week. Let's go to golf. A couple of Aussies are putting themselves right in the mix in the opening round of the US PGA Championship in South Carolina. Cam Smith is currently 1 under, putting him just 4 shots behind leader Corey Connors. And Cam Davis is up to 2 under after a stunning eagle on the par 5 11th hole.
Cam Davis for eagle to get to 2 under par. Did he? Yes, he gave it enough. In his first PGA Championship appearance, the Aussie is now 2 under par with a big smile.
Yeah, he's playing well in tough conditions. The Adelaide 36ers will be without centre Isaac Humphries for the rest of the season. The club deciding to take a cautious approach with his foot injury. The Sixers take on Illawarra tonight. Meantime, in the NBA, Indiana takes on Washington this morning for the right to participate in the playoffs. One game in the NRL overnight with North Queensland 36 to 20-point winners over Newcastle. And Israel Folau will this morning announce his intention to return to rugby league, albeit at local level on the Gold Coast. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
At Elizabeth East, there's an abandoned car partially blocking a lane and causing a hazard on Midway Road and Kincaid Road. That's near the roundabout. Crayford's the freeway up track and broken down truck just before the tunnel. Speeds reduced there. And Para Hills, crews working on a burst water main, McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Busy for the drive-in, Rose Park, Fullerton Road, City bound, Grant Avenue to Britannia roundabout. Speed cameras today, Raglan Avenue, Edwardstown and Montague Road at Paraka. NAB Equipment Finance can help you make ideas more. Search NAB Equipment Finance today. NAB, more than money. T's and C's and lending criteria apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
23 for your Friday, mostly sunny, 23 on Saturday and Sunday as well. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
There are things that we simply cannot explain that we've videotaped and seen. And we're getting stories, David, that simply cannot be explained either.
Yes, and some of them are quite entertaining. I like this one from Bill Dimmu in Blackwood. He says, my great unexplained event is the 2007 AFL Grand Final. I still can't work it out, and I'm still recovering. Happy Friday, boys. That's great, Bill.
Dr. Chris Moy is the National Vice President of the AMA.
We're in Australia, we're actually getting better at recognising it. It's something that's only occurring at about that day 4, maybe up to day 28. It's not the initial symptoms that you get. And the other important thing is that now we're getting better at diagnosing it quickly with the blood test, but also treating it.
Arson at Merino this morning. Olivia Grace Curran is at the scene for 9 News.
A neighbour actually raised the alarm just before 5:30 this morning. He noticed some smoke issuing from the front door. He himself got a hose and hosed down the front door. Fireys say that sort of without his help, it would have really been quite a significant fire and gone up within 10 minutes.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 after 8, it's been a fun meat tray this morning. Still time for your entries on 8223 or the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. The meat tray, of course, thanks to Gary and Emily Churchill and all the staff at Churchill's Butchery. 2 of them, in fact, Marrittville Shopping Centre or in the Bayside Village at Glenelg. We're asking you about unexplained occurrences, things you've seen that you cannot explain. 8223 the number. We'll get to some more of those shortly. Coming up after 8:30, we've had a little bit of a reshuffle this morning. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens will join us at around 8:45. Ryan Fitzgerald in his normal spot. And Port fans, stick around. Orazio Fantasia in just a moment.
Well, this morning in Breaking at 8, we can reveal that the Port Adelaide Football Club has confirmed to us that it is investigating a potential plagiarism scandal involving the Indigenous round, the Sir Doug Nicholls round jumper that it unveiled only a few days ago, where all of its Indigenous players posed up wearing what is a genuinely beautiful jumper designed for the upcoming Indigenous round. It features a diagonal background with a black path running through the middle on which 2 kangaroos are jumping with arrows pointing in the direction that they're moving. The bottom half of the background is a series of red, yellow and gold wheels with traditional Aboriginal dot art in them, and the above part depicts blue wheels. So I guess one representing the earth, one representing the sky or possibly the sea. Now, I'm going to tread a little bit carefully here because the person who did the jumper for Port is a young person and they're still at school, and also obviously an Indigenous person. And they were part of the press conference with Port the other day, and it was a genuinely feel-good moment for that young Indigenous person. Well, what has happened since, though, and we stress this is now something that is going to be well and truly in the public arena today, because it's all emanated overnight from social media, and we have checked this with the Port Adelaide Football Club, is that another Indigenous person, another woman by the name of Elle Campbell, she's come forward, and the case that she's put is, to say the least, persuasive. She's an artist of some note who has done work for National Reconciliation Week.
Her art is sensational.
It is. And it is pretty much identical. It is identical. It's identical. It is the exact image that is on the Port Adelaide jumper. Now, she's, you'd have to say, understandably annoyed by this. And overnight, in a series of posts on Instagram, she has said things like this: "The meaning behind this painting was of my family's ancestral burial ground at Kingston SE and the connection we still have with the native flora and fauna on those lands. My mother had sent me a photo of some kangaroos coming out from the scrub to go have a dip in the water, which was the inspiration for this painting." Then she said, 98 weeks ago, I did this, if anyone's wondering, and it was up at the Flinders Medical Centre for an exhibition on the 28th of May 2019. And then she said, and she posted pictures of herself posing at Flinders with her art that is now the basis of this jumper, with the words, the original exhibition proof.
So it was that's almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. We'll put Sorry. I'm holding the image up for the benefit of everybody who's watching on the live stream. And we'll also, these pictures are going to be everywhere soon. We have tweeted it.
We've tweeted it.
So that was part of National Reconciliation Week, as part of the Flinders exhibition. So, look, as we said, we're certainly not advocating for an instant that there should be any sort of, punishment or what have you for the young person. And clearly, as we said, hugely important part of the AFL calendar, great celebration of the role that Indigenous people play in the history and the current living history of the AFL. The game wouldn't be the same without them. But the statement that we have from Port says this: Port Adelaide is aware of allegations that surfaced on social media last night regarding the design of its Indigenous Guernsey for the upcoming Sir Doug Nicholls round. The club is investigating the allegations and will not make further comment until it has all the information at hand.
It's an important point you make, because the temptation sometimes is for this to seem like a witch hunt, when in fact the reality is what's right is that the person who's created it should just get some credit.
Yeah, that's right.
That's more what should happen.
Yeah,
if you're responsible for really great art that's going to be featured on a national stage, you should.
It could be the world's craziest coincidence.
It would be the world's craziest coincidence. 14 minutes after 8, we've got a Ratio Fantasia coming up in just a moment. Our number 8223 You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Let's check traffic. Get a great deal in 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles. Dave Potter Honda.
At Etherton, look out for a smash on Bower Road near Fairford Terrace. 3 cars involved there, causing delays. At Plimpton, a minor collision, Durant and James Street causing delays. 2 cars involved with debris on the road. Elizabeth East, there's an abandoned car there. It's partially blocking a lane and causing a hazard on Midway Road and Kincaid Road. That's near the roundabout. And Crayfords, the freeway, up track, a broken down truck just before the tunnel. Speeds have been reduced there too. Get expert home loan advice from a Mortgage Choice broker. They'll go the extra length to find you the right home loan and save you thousands. Visit mortgagechoice.com.au for your nearest broker. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Rory, you are Gil McLaughlin. You're running the AFL. What would you change?
I like this question. You're going to hate this. I like the idea of a really long season and a really short pre-season. So I'd play probably everyone twice, 36 games.
4 p.m. weekdays.
Maybe shorten the games a little. Go for a longer season and have a really short pre-season. That's really extreme. It'll never happen, but I kind of like that idea.
Rowie's Sports Show on 5AA.
It's incredible. Over 50% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to live the dream in this fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. There are over 15,000 incredible prizes to win, including luxury vehicles, local getaways and so much more. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care. Licence M139889.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. The buzz around the new Kluger is huge, so register your interest at Jarvis Toyota, Clovelly Park today. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
I don't have a favourite teacher because I've loved them all. They've taught me new things and I've always had fun in their class.
St Andrew's School is a place where I can learn. I've enjoyed learning about sports because I'm always focused.
My school is all these things and more. It's what makes it one of South Australia's leading primary schools. Hi, I'm Sophie, school captain at St Andrew's. Join the principal for a tour on Tuesday the 25th of May at 9:30am or Saturday the 29th of May at 10am. Just Google St Andrew's School.
Care Alert, a name we can all trust. Well, they've just released their new GPS Go Anywhere Care Alert pendant, and it's a beauty. Whether you're home or out and about, this new pendant will notify your family of exactly where you are if you fall over or have a sudden medical incident. You can even speak through your pendant. Brilliant. And all for under $399. Or it could be free through your My Aged Care or NDIS funding. Call 1300 75 85 95 or visit carealert.com.au.
At Spotlight, a window's what you make it with a massive 40% off the entire range of blockout curtains, 50% off the entire range of timber and faux wood Venetian blinds, so you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
G'day, Rocco Lambrusco here in the City Traffic Chopper. Tonight I'll be eating an avocado smash westbound on Victoria Road. That's it from me in the chopper, back to you. Order with Uber Eats tonight.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 8.
Orazio Fantasia. Intercepted almost by Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia. Orazio.
Ho, 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 it's magic. You know. Never believe.
Get a Puritap from $49 up front on a payment plan. T's and C's at puritap.com.au. Calling Port Collingwood on the weekend with Treaders and Tim Ginniver. So I looked at the Port team last night. We're a little sorry to see that our next guest, Orazio Fantasia, is listed as out, injured. Orazio, what have you done to yourself?
Morning. No, I've got a little bit of a tight hammy, and it was more of a let's not risk it sort of job than try to play. It was a little bit tight. I've been a bit sore for a couple of weeks, so it was just a precaution and probably a smart thing because a younger dumb me probably would have played and heard it more. And no, the club have been really good with that. So yeah.
How old are you, mate? Do you mind me asking? If it's not a personal question, I'm sure it's in the AFL record.
It's very personal. Very, very personal. No, I'm 25. I'm a baby still.
Oh, you got your whole life ahead of you, mate.
When you get something like hamstring tightness like that, is it all based on the club docs chatting with you and how you feel, or do they scan it and grade it?
Well, I had a bit of a sore knee, so we as well. So that's probably where most of the stuff was coming from, and I was running a little bit differently. So I think it was more the fact that if we give it a week to rest, then the knee recovers better, and then the hammy should go away. So that was the sort of decision making behind that.
So Porter away on the weekend. What do you what's game day look like for you, mate? He's going to be home with the family on the couch.
Yeah, I'm not a very good watcher of football. I get really nervous and stuff like that. So I'll be pulling my hair out watching the game, but I'm sure
we are playing Collingwood, though.
Yeah.
They're rubbish.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. But
would have been a chance for you to fill your boots too. That's disappointing.
I always get nervous when I play Collingwood. Obviously, Essendon and Collingwood are a nice rivalry. So used to get a bloke called Braden Maynard. Used to play on him a lot.
Yeah.
And he's bloody tough. So
he's a good player.
So thankful. Yeah, he's a very good player. So,
son of Peter.
Yeah, so I'll be sitting on the couch and he can run around and do whatever he needs to do there.
Will there be any feeling in the game because of the jumper issue, do you think? Or did the players, would it have become, I know it was pretty toxic between Eddie and Koshy, but would it get down to the player level, do you think?
I haven't thought about that. I don't think so. I think everyone playing the game is just there to obviously play, but who knows? I'm sure Koshy will probably make his way to the MCG. I think he'd have to, wouldn't he?
Bit of trash talking, maybe.
Might appear on the big screen a couple of times.
Him and Eddie just sort of, back and forthing or something like
that. This is the first week I can remember in a long time that the Port Adelaide Football Club has been criticised for on-field performance. That people have had on every talk show over the course of the last few days, discussions, flat track bullies, Port aren't been in the top 4 sides, but look $1 million against the also-rans of the competition. I mean, I think there's a pretty clear argument that can be made about your injury list at the moment and how that contributes to your capacity to play against the best of the best. But what's the feeling and what's the conversation been around the club with that as the background noise this week?
Yeah, I think as a club, and this is probably cliche, and you guys will probably go, "Oh, you're boring, Raz," but obviously we don't listen to the background noise, so everyone can say what they want to say. But we have addressed some slow starts, which has been probably a bit of an issue for us. So again, on the weekend, we're down by 25 points or 30 points at quarter time, so we're trying to chase our tail, but it all comes back to our contested stuff. And I know Ollie Wine spoke about it during the week as well. So, when we're down a bit in contested footy and we're letting intercept marks go as forward line and stuff like that, we tend to just be that little bit off, and you can't be that little bit off. So that's been a big focus for us this week, and we've trained it again. So that's where, our intentions will be on the weekend, cracking into the contest, and hopefully that comes out in how we play.
Will you be getting into any Italian comfort food while you rest up, Orazio? You got a bowl of minestrone with your name on it somewhere?
I have to, but it's nice and sunny, so probably not soup, actually. It's 22 today, isn't it?
It's probably more Carpaccio weather, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of Vitello Tonato.
Mum to make a lasagna. Geez, you're very good with all the produce.
Honestly, right? Yeah, don't get him
Mate,
started.
it's just I don't really know much about football, so I like to talk about cooking instead.
Well, I have to get Mum to make a lasagna and bring it in or something.
We should do that one day.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
100%.
That'd be sensational.
How do you go, Orazio, on big picture footy hypotheticals? We've had a couple of big ones this week. People thinking big about the future of the game. I wonder if I'll just try a couple on you, see whether you think they were good ideas or not.
Okay. Go.
So Rory Sloane was on with Rowie last night on the sports show and said if he was Gillon McLachlan, he'd wave his magic wand and change one thing. He would have a 36 or actually 34 round home and away season, each club playing each other twice. How would you feel about that?
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I probably wouldn't play every game. I wouldn't have thought. But I think that probably, similar to American sports, it probably you rely on your depth then a bit more. So you can't just have, sort of 25 really good players. Now you need to have 35 to 40 good players playing and in good form. So, I'd be up for it.
All right,
definitely.
That's good. That's one, so that gets a tick. What about Damien Hardwick's idea earlier this week that prior opportunity in holding the ball adjudication is scrapped? So you get tackled, you've got the ball in your possession, you're pinged.
Just straight away.
Just straight away.
No
No prior opportunity.
So it's like Chasey.
Yeah. Give me the ball back.
Barley's you're it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that one.
Okay.
I think the umpires, it's pretty tough for them, to make a quick call and what's happening. So as long as they're consistent, and I know once again it's probably a cliche, but as long as they're consistent with adjudicating the same for both sides and what they see it all the time, which I know they're trying to do their absolute best, I think it's probably just one of those things that happens. And then now that we've spoken about it this week, there'll probably be 15 holding the balls.
Yeah, absolutely. Overcorrection.
Just find the balance, I think.
So remiss of us then not to ask if you've got any big picture changes you'd consider if you were the big boss.
I think just like leaving one forward in the 50 and just getting everyone else out.
Would you be that one forward?
Oh, I'd probably have to fight Big Mick for it, Big Charlie. But, we'll try to. We'll do.
I like that idea. The paddock.
Yeah, the paddock. That's it. All the space. And
that's tremendous.
The defenders wouldn't like it, but the forwards would.
Big fun to watch.
Mate, look after your knee and your hammy.
Yeah, definitely.
Rest up.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
And, have a good weekend, mate. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to you about on-field performance next time round.
Yeah,
get well.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll get Mum onto the lasagna, won't I?
Good on you, Orazio. I'd love it. That'd be great.
Cheers, mate. Get a Puritap from $49 up front on a payment plan. T's and C's at puritap.com.au.
If you're 50 and over, like me, you are eligible to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Vaccination is the best way to protect yourself and your loved ones. Book now at your local GP, respiratory clinic, or at one of our new vaccination clinics across Metro and regional SA. Locations include Wavell Showgrounds, the Women's and Children's Hospital, Noarlunga and Elizabeth, with more clinics opening soon. To book, visit covidvaccine.sa.gov.au.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Just like your favourite sports team, small businesses are at their best when they're well supported. Nissan Fleet are passionate supporters of small businesses, delivering tailored vehicle solutions to meet their unique needs. With dedicated fleet managers available Australia-wide, Nissan Fleet are the local fleet experts. Visit your local Nissan dealer or search Nissan Fleet today to team up with the best.
We hear you. You've lived enough to know you want more. More time, more freedom, more living. Introducing Encore Apartments from ECH, a new vertical retirement village at Modbury, opposite Tea Tree Plaza. 77 two-bedroom apartments, all with private balconies, plus on-site cafe, fitness centre and community garden. Book an appointment to see the new display suite at Parkside or visit echencore.com.au.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Careers. Don't send it, ace it.
Hi, Hearing Australia.
Oh, hi. I'd like to inquire about hearing aids, please.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're having a ball, so I'll be quick. Our range includes hearing aids that can be so discreet people probably won't realise you're wearing one. And for eligible pensioners under the Hearing Services Program, there are 3 device choices to choose from that are free. And we will care for your hearing for life.
I like the sound of that. Oh!
Hearing Australia. Discover the secret to celebrating sound in your life. Call 134 432 or 134 HERE today.
I'm Lindy Morrison, former drummer of the Go-Betweens. And if you're like me and driving less these days, FIVEaa's comprehensive car insurance rewards you with a drive less, pay less discount on your premiums.
Call FIVEaa on 13 50 50 for a quote today. FIVEaa. Get set, go. FIVEaa is an authorised representative of AAI Limited, the product issuer. Most optional covers are not discounted. Limits, exclusions and conditions apply. Before buying this insurance, read the PDS. Contact us for a copy.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Mart's, buy 3 get 1 free on Bridgestone, Copia and selected Dunlop passenger tyres. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
29 minutes after 8. Time for Fuel Watch, thanks to Dave Potter Honda. At the OTR on the corner of McGill and Portrush Roads, we're about $1.49. $1.44 at the Coles Express in Parkholme on Marion Road. $1.39 at the Coles Express on the corner of Port Road and Tapleys Hill Road. And a few of the servos in the inner north. It's in the $1.20s, North Adelaide, Prospect and Nailsworth. Oh, you'd be going well to do that. And this all makes me feel sad for filling up at $1.52 last night.
Ah, well.
Like an idiot.
Told you 100 times.
Like an idiot. Total schmuck. You toad.
Drongo.
All right.
You dill.
Well, the flagellation will continue
How
during
many words are there for stupid in Australia?
Oh, a lot.
It's good, isn't
a
it?
lot.
You nung.
5AA News Time. Behind Closed Doors is coming up. Then Ryan Fitzgerald and the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, next.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny 23 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra Clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
The Israeli and Palestinian ceasefire has just taken effect, ending almost 2 weeks of violence. It's been described as a mutual and simultaneous truce. More than 240 people have been killed in the conflict, which has seen Hamas firing thousands of rockets into southern Israel and Israel launching airstrikes. An angry Prince William has responded to an inquiry's findings into the BBC Diana interview, which aired in 1995. He says the deceit impacted his parents' relationship and his mother's state of mind in the final years of her life.
It is welcome that the BBC accepts Lord Dyson's findings in full, which are extremely concerning. That BBC employees lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother, made lurid and false claims about the royal family, which played on her fears and fueled paranoia, displayed woeful incompetence when investigating complaints and concerns about the programme, and covered up what they knew from their internal investigation.
Prince Harry has also released a statement backing his brother's feelings on the matter. Port Adelaide is investigating claims the design of its Indigenous Guernsey was copied. South Australian artist Elle Campbell claims her artwork was plagiarised by high school student Ariana Rigney and then submitted to Port to appear on the jumper. The club says it's seeking more information and won't make further comment at this time. Investigations are continuing into another 6 blood clot cases linked to the AstraZeneca jab, which includes 2 South Australians. A 53-year-old man is in intensive care at the FIVEaa after reporting severe abdominal pain. There's a second probable case in an 87-year-old woman. Chief Health Officer Professor Nicola Spurrier says the benefits of the jab still outweigh the risks.
I think it's important for everyone to realise that every vaccination comes with a potential risk. And in fact, every medication has a potential side effect. But we have to weigh up the risks and benefits. And so when people are thinking about getting the COVID vaccine, it's important for them to think about the personal risks to them and their family of having COVID.
Manufacturers will be able to submit their plan to build a high-tech vaccine facility in Australia. Nine's Michael Packy reports.
Pfizer and Moderna both use mRNA technology to produce their COVID vaccines. Australia is importing Pfizer doses from Europe, and the federal government is planning to get the US-based Moderna into the country. The push is on to set up a local mRNA facility as part of the $1 billion Modern Manufacturing Initiative. An approach to market kicks off today. Interested companies will have 8 weeks to submit a fully costed proposal which would provide end-to-end production of the COVID vaccine and other health products. The facility would have the ability to easily scale up with the government as the main customer.
Moonta, Robe and Clare have been crowned SA's best tourist towns, the trio recognised by the South Australian Tourism Industry Council. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide forward Orazio Fantasia insists he won't be out for long after being left out of Sunday's clash against Collingwood with a hamstring injury. The 25-year-old telling David and Will it's purely precautionary.
No, I've got a little bit of a tight hammy, and it was more of a let's not risk it sort of job than try to play. It was a little bit tight. I've been a bit sore for a couple of weeks, so it was just a precaution and probably a smart thing.
The Crows, meantime, welcome back Taylor Walker and Ned McHenry for tomorrow's twilight clash against Melbourne. Let's go to golf. Aussie Cam Davis continues to make a charge in the opening round of the US PGA Championship in South Carolina. He just drained a huge putt on the 14th hole for birdie and is now 3 under, putting him in a tie for second and only 2 shots behind Canadian outright leader Corey Connors. FIFA has finalised dates for the 2023 Women's World Cup to be held in Australia and New Zealand. The tournament will run from the 20th of July to the 20th of August. Israel Folau will today declare his intention to return to rugby league in the Gold Coast A-grade competition. He's signing with the Southport Tigers. ARL Commission Chairman Peter V'landys says it's up to the Queensland Rugby League as to whether he's allowed to play.
They'll make a determination. They'll determine if he's a fit and proper person to play their game in Queensland, and we'll let the decision be handled by them.
And in some surfing to finish, Margaret Pro River champion Philippe Toledo has been knocked out of the Rottnest Island event by little-known Aussie Liam O'Brien in the round of 32. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
At Hillcrest, a smash on North East Road near Foster's Road, Carvey motorbike. Etherton, smash on Bower Road near Fairford Terrace, 3 cars involved and causing delays. Elizabeth East, an unusual one, abandoned car partially blocking a lane and causing a hazard on Midway Road and Kincaid Road. That's near the roundabout. And Crafers on the freeway, up track, a broken down truck just before the tunnel speeds reduced there too. Do you have a Bellissimo body? Then pamper it with the very best. An Australian-made Bellissimo mattress by Macon Mattresses. Nobody makes a better mattress. Nobody. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
Mostly sunny, 23 today, much the same tomorrow, 23. It's 13 degrees at the moment. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 to 9, Police Commissioner Grant Stevens coming up in just a moment on the results of Operation Trace. The QR code crackdown had really good results from the Police Commissioner's perspective. We'll talk to him about that and also the exhumation of the Somerton man. That's ahead. Right now, though, thanks to House Inspect Australia. Trust them. They're the most qualified team in Australia for house inspection. Search House Inspect Australia. It's time to talk footy, meat tray and everything in between with Ryan Fitzgerald. Fitzy, good morning to you, mate. I don't think we've got...
Have we got Fitzy?
Oh, hang on. Now we've got Fitzy.
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 Hey, sweet goodness. How are you, boys?
Good, sorry. My mistake.
I thought you were doing your boxer voice there, Fitzy.
Oh, Clem the boxing coach? No. I'm on the phone. I'm down in Melbourne this weekend, so apologies about that, boys.
What are you doing down in Melbourne? Have you had a chance to get out and have a look around yet? Will was there a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying half the city's boarded up.
Yeah, it is. They're slowly starting to open up a little bit more, but I was here for the front bar last night. We had Barry Round on the show, and David Rees-Jones. You don't think I had a couple of beers with those boys after the show and some of the stories I was hearing. They are so lucky to be alive, those two. It's unbelievable with the drinking stories and fighting stories over the years.
A lot of people who stood David Rees-Jones are lucky to be alive as well.
Tell me about it. Unbelievable.
So, mate, Meat Tray Friday, we're inspired by Barack Obama confirming that the Pentagon is looking seriously into a couple of instances of UFOs being sighted. Have you ever had any close encounters of the third kind yourself, mate?
Oh, without a doubt, Pembo, all the time. It's just unfortunately half the time they were up in the Kaipo forest after I had a couple of mushrooms that I was buying up there as well. But look, I think come on, this is ridiculous. It's over the top. I mean, if we would have had proof, we would have had to have had proof by now if there was, extraterrestrial life out there. No one can give us actual proof yet. If Barack Obama's saying this, you've got to give us some evidence.
You sound like a skeptic, mate.
Yeah, no, I am a bit of a skeptic when it comes to this. I don't believe that there's any other life out there. We're the only one.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
We run the show. We run the galaxy.
That's right. Hey, mate, we're going to race through the tips because we've got the police commissioner in here, and unless you want to do an interview with him as well, we'd better we'd better put the foot down. You've probably had a few encounters with the police back in your day down Christie's Way.
Well, usually when the police commissioner was around, I could run the fastest 100 out of there. So let's get through the tip.
All right, tonight, Lions v the Tigers.
I think the Lions are playing good footy, and it's at the Gabba, so I'll go the Lions there.
Carlton Hawthorn.
Carlton will win that game. Hawthorn aren't playing too well at the moment.
Cats and the Suns.
Cats will win that easy.
Are the Crows a chance against the D's?
I'm backing the Crows.
Yes! Me too.
I think Melbourne are a little bit vulnerable at the moment, and if we can be a bit more consistent with our pressure, like we were with West Coast last week, we could win this game. So I'm picking the Crows.
Dog Saints.
I'm going to go the Doggies there.
Freo Swans.
I'm going to go Freo at home to win that game.
Then GWS West Coast.
GWS at home.
Pies v the Power at the MCG.
I think the Power will win that game.
And finally, the Bombers and North Melbourne.
Yeah, the Bombers will win that convincingly, boys.
Good on you, Fitzy. Have a great weekend, mate. We'll do it again next week.
No worries, lads. Have a good one. See you, boys.
too.
Trust House Inspect Australia, the most qualified team in Australia for house inspection. Search House Inspect Australia. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us to talk the results of Operation Trace and a whole host of other things. He's meant to be in a little bit earlier today. What held you up, Commish?
Well, my apologies. I got a bit carried away with the birthday breakfast for my lovely wife, Emma.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, I'm not supposed to say she's 50 today, but
now you're in trouble.
Birthday, so,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Emma.
What about that? So today's the day.
Today, yep.
Yeah, right.
Oh, good stuff.
Excellent.
I
Good
got
stuff.
just a little bit carried away with the festivities starting early.
Did you do the cooking? Did you lay anything special on?
Nothing special. Dunking the tea bag a few times.
Oh, that's a form of effort. So good on you for doing that.
Yeah, that's sensational.
We thought there might have been some major crime unfolding somewhere. Glad to hear that life in Adelaide's just as
Absolutely.
staid and peaceful as it normally is.
That's as serious as it gets. Yeah, I turn up late. So.
There would have been a major crime going on if you'd forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So, Commissioner, the QR codes. Looks like people have basically got with the program and responded to the call you made a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I have to say, I think the greatest success was the announcement that we were going to pay attention to QR codes because we saw an immediate uptake in people's understanding of their obligations, which is exactly what we wanted. And over the course of the last week, we've given warnings to about 560 individuals who are failing to do the right thing, and about 80 odd businesses were also given warnings. But I can say there was only one person who was given an expiation notice for failing to comply, and that was a person who was running a massage parlour.
Yeah, right.
One person in all of the state.
One person. But we said from the outset that our intention was to go out and work with the community, make sure they're doing the right thing, and give people a chance to get on board. And we've seen a tremendous uptake in the number of people QRing into businesses now, which is exactly what we wanted.
Were you surprised by the speed with which rumours spread, that there had been wholesale expiations handed out to people in businesses?
Yes, absolutely.
Or were you counting on it?
Oh, no, I didn't anticipate that. But the
it was made of a mate stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we got texts every day from.
We got a call that actually went to air
all over
that we
the state.
immediately corrected.
Yeah.
But it was I heard about this supermarket in Victor, and then there's a shop in Harndorf.
Yes, I heard all that. And, we reflected on whether we should come and sort of clear the record, but it probably didn't hurt for people to think that that was a possible consequence. So, but look, everybody's done the right thing. My personal observations over the last few days has been that where we were seeing people just streaming past these QR codes at the big entrance of shops, people are now taking the time, the very little bit of time it takes to just do the right thing. And these are the things we need to ensure that we can keep moving in the right direction. And let me say that given the lack of use of the QR codes prior to this operation, it really does give an indication for us now exactly what we need from the community if we're going to take away some more of these restrictions. People got to do the right thing so we can do the right thing.
What did you make of the commentary from the hoteliers about your comments about vaccines, where you seem to be putting
more barriers in the way?
A threshold target there.
No, look, I'm as keen as anybody to remove these restrictions, and we are. Every week we're sort of working with SA Health. We're asking the questions about what those thresholds are. The reality is we've had a couple of incidents in other jurisdictions, one which emanated from here with a person being released from one of our Medi hotels, travelling to Victoria, turning positive. That person could easily have gone into our community. So we're not setting new benchmarks. We're not pushing the boundaries out. We are taking on board all information in a very complex, changing situation. It's worth pointing out too that South Australia, other than Northern Territory, is the most relaxed state in Australia, state or territory, when it comes to COVID restrictions. So we want to maintain that. We don't want to sort of move too quickly and find ourselves in a situation like other places around the world where they thought they were doing really well and all of a sudden they're not.
So you don't anticipate there'll be the establishment of any new goalposts anytime soon?
No, look, my goal is to get to normal as quickly as possible. You can't deny that the take-up of the vaccine is a relevant factor in our considerations. The more people who are vaccinated, the lower the risk for the community of South Australia. It's something we have to take into account. We're not moving the goalposts. We're working towards getting back to normal.
Is there a line, though, where it comes to the level of vaccination that makes you then, at very least, seriously think about changing things even more?
Well, that's for SA Health to determine. People talk about 60% of the community, but I don't know that we have to wait for that. What we need to see is that we're travelling in the right direction. And I've got to tell you, now that we know what the actual level of QR check-ins should look like on an average day during the week, if we drop back to where it was before Operation Trace, then obviously that's going to raise concerns in terms of our ability to effectively trace people if they come into contact with the virus. So, it's on us as a community. Do the right thing and we can get back to normal more quickly.
Yeah, well, exactly. That is your sort of ticket to freedom, isn't it? The fact that you keep scanning.
There's no one thing that is going to provide the solution to this. It's about a suite of strategies that protect South Australians from COVID-19. And I don't know all the answers, that's for sure.
Well, I went to the recently renovated Prince Albert Hotel for dinner with 4 mates last night, and the first thing the barmaid said on arrival is, "Hey guys, have you all checked in?" And we went, "Yep, we're going to do it right now." And if the end result of that onerous 3-second process was that I got to have 4 pints and a steak with chips with my mates, then happy days.
Yeah, I would have gone the schnitty, but
that's it. That's what's at the end of this process.
The one thing
good times,
exactly.
Freedom to shop, whatever.
What disappoints me is those people who push back on people who are working in shops or hospitality. That's just low stuff. Like these people are doing their bit to comply, and these people who think that they're above the law, because this is a law, and give a hard time to young people working in these industries. That's just not on.
You don't have any early mail yet, do you, Commissioner? It's probably far too soon out of anything that's emerged from the exhumation of the Somerton man, or will that be a bit down the track?
Very, very early days. Obviously, we're watching with interest to see what the forensic analysis will tell us. Hopefully, it'll give us some insights as to what happened to this man and where he came from.
How long does that usually take?
They haven't put a time on it. It depends on how effectively they can retrieve forensic samples and then process them, and whether it's going to be if we have a hit on our local database, it'll be quicker than if we have to do an international search. So time will tell, and also in terms of whether the forensics can indicate any cause of death.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
No worries, Commissioner Stevens. Thanks very much for coming in.
Pleasure.
And happy birthday to your wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy birthday.
We'll let you get back to the celebration. Is our name Mud in the Stevens household now?
No, your name was Mud when you decided that double demerits should go for people wearing lycra.
That was him. That wasn't me.
Oh, what about this? What a shocking give-up. To use a New South Wales police slang term.
We don't ride together here. Don't worry about that.
Double demerits for daggy DJs.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen a bloke rat his partner out so quickly?
I broke down under questioning really fast then, didn't I?
You didn't even have to get the second volume of the Yellow Pages on
No, it was just, he just gave me that look.
Leave that one alone.
Thank you, Commissioner. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens. Oh, boy. Right. Sorry about that, David.
You find out your friends are under pressure,
I rolled over, didn't I?
You hadn't even been asked a question.
You like to think you know how you perform under pressure, and then sometimes the moment comes and it gets large really quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal on the 3 years free scheduled servicing and executive-driven vehicles. Dave Potter Honda.
At North Haven, a smash on Victoria Road and Sir Keith Smith Drive. Hillcrest, another collision there. North East Road near Foster's Road. Car v motorbike. At Etherton, a smash on Bower Road near Fairford Terrace. 3 cars involved there causing delays. And Para Hills, a burst water main crews on site. McIntyre Road near Bridge Road. Trying to clean that up as quick as they can. Speed cameras this morning. Eliza Place Panorama. Dutton Terrace at Medindi. Hey, you had your Real Housewives fix with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in New York City now streaming same day as the US. Head to heyu.com to try for free. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Major road resurfacing works on the southeastern freeway between the toll gate and Hyson tunnels will be underway until mid-2021. Motorists should expect delays, so allow extra travel time. Visit dit.sa.gov.au/SE Freeway. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
What's the best sauce for your perfect steak? It's got to be Gaucho's at Home chimichurri sauce. And for seafood, it's got to be their Diablo sauce. Gaucho's mates at Spring Gully have come to the party, producing the traditional Gaucho's family recipes for steak and seafood lovers to enjoy. Pick up some from Foodland, scan the QR code, and you can access Gaucho's kitchen with online demos from Gaucho's chefs. Gaucho's at Home chimichurri and Diablo sauces. Made by Spring Gully and in your nearest Foodland.
The best of both worlds, that's all anyone ever wants, even in retirement. With Southern Cross Care, you can have exactly that and live between the coast and the city at their wonderful O'Grady Court community in North Plympton.
There's affordable one-bedroom unit starting from just $85,900 and they feature open-plan living, modern kitchens and spacious bathrooms. Plus, you'll also have access to services next door at the Pines Health and Wellness Centre and also the vibrant on-site community centre of John Martin House.
Not only is this where many social and community groups gather, it's also the beautiful Bluestone building building, an original home of the John Martin family, but extended it and refurbished for use by residents.
So for more information about O'Grady Court, visit southerncrosscare.com.au or call 1800 852 772. That number again, 1800 852 772.
For over 36 years, Steinborner certified cars has always exceeded expectations on value, service and selection, and that continues. That's why it's always well worth a trip to Steinborner certified cars in Gawler, Nuriutpa and Clare for great deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishis, plus SA's biggest and best range of used cars. Make the trip to one of Steinborner's 8 dealerships or view the whole range of cars now at steinborner.com.au and join the thousands who know. Steinborner certified cars. It's well worth the trip.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Mart's, buy 3 get 1 free on Bridgestone, Copia and selected Dunlop passenger tyres. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes to 9. It's that time of the morning where, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers call Aussie Fast 13 13 64. We go behind closed doors.
And when we get behind closed...
1395, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Tony Pilkington.
Yeah, hello everybody, and welcome along to this afternoon thing that we do of an afternoon. Josh Sampson is out there, the young bloke taking care of Grandpa as he does. If you don't mind, you little snurd. A little bit later on, we'll be talking about jobs with Andrew Sullivan from Sullivan Consulting. There are 9,732 jobs available in South Australia. Oh, I keep saying you'd win money. I'm repeating myself. You'd win money if you walked into somewhere and said, there's 9,700. Oh, they'd say, bullshit. Oh, smack my hand. I shouldn't say that. That's the trouble when you're drinking on the show. Alrighty, an email from Tom. Tom says, g'day, Pilko. I often hear Leon speculating on how much petrol storage there is in this country of ours, and Leon says that it might be around about a couple of weeks, and other people say it might be a bit longer or a bit shorter. But how much storage of petrol do we have in this country of ours? Yeah, don't know the answer to that, Tom. So now you've listened to Leon and me, and you're still none the wiser. Alrighty, let's have a look at him. Oh, they've dragged him in, they've dusted him off. And he's totally what's-her-named off with the Crows. And I am, Pilko. Oh, Josh, get him a drink. I think he needs one. I'll give you one of my tablets, KG. How about that? Pilko, I certainly need something. You can be rest assured of that. And I'll keep laughing, Pilko, if you keep saying funny things. Oh, yeah. But bearing in mind, Pilko, of course, I'd laugh at a puppy being thrown down a well, so... Alrighty.
Oh, sensational.
It's coming up to 5 minutes to 9. We very shortly will have to award a meat tray, thanks to Gary and Emily Churchill and all the staff at Churchill's Butchery, Marrickville Shopping Centre and the Bayside Village at Glenelg. But we've got some texts on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line to get to first.
Yes, we do. There are still a number of people who are scratching their heads about the fact that the Adelaide Oval can be chock-a-block, yet the same can't apply at pubs. I guess the argument from the authorities there is that they know exactly where everybody's sitting, but it's still a question that I think is an understandable one. Getting a few texts about the Port Indigenous jumper issue. I've got to say, I don't think we should have any sort of pile-on this student. I actually think that this shows something that is, and I reckon a lot of teachers listening would back me up on this. One of the biggest challenges in the digital age for kids these days is to grasp the concept of what actually constitutes plagiarism, which is passing off the work of others as your own. I know from experience as a parent that sitting down with your kids when they're doing a homework assignment, particularly in sort of early high school, if you're told you have to do a PLP and say
what's a PLP?
A personal learning project or something, you're going to do something about homelessness. So find some data about homelessness. The first thing a kid does in the modern era is go to Google and type homelessness into Google, or maybe homelessness Adelaide, and just find piles of data, and then just start going Command X, Command V, cut, paste, here you go, that's what I know about homelessness. And, I think what this story, and very much on the face of it, what it looks like, is that someone's just found somebody else's work and gone, that would make a really good design.
Yep.
Which is a big difference from sitting down and going, I'm going to design something.
Here's something that matters to me that I've created from my own mind.
A modern intellectual crisis of people don't read primary sources, they don't read books, they don't look at things, they don't use their imaginations as they once did because computers do things for them, like you play Minecraft or Fortnite for 3 hours a day instead of designing things and drawing things like you did when iPads didn't exist. And all of these things end up with, I stand like a grand old Methuselah here, but stuff the internet is what I say because it's putting too many easy options in front of people that don't actually make them smarter or teach them anything.
We're giving away a meat tray right after this.
At Spotlight, a window's what you make it with a massive 40% off the entire range of blockout curtains, 50% off the entire range of timber and faux wood Venetian blinds, so you can hang it, close it and keep it warm for less. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Be your own interior designer. At RB Day & Sons Supercraft Bedding, you don't only get to choose to shop local, but also the fabric and design of your bed as well. In our Factory Direct showroom, you can customise your mattress, ensemble base and bedhead, with hundreds of fabric choices supplied and upholstered right here in our bedding boutique. Check us out on social media or visit supercraft.com.au. RB Day & Sons Supercraft Bedding, building better beds.
Sold by McGain again.
And as we keep banging on about, it's really important to get along to these open inspections because you could miss out.
That's right. So tomorrow, catch up with Karen Hoyer, who is opening 19 Dudley Avenue Door Park from 10:15 to 10:45. This much-loved property has been home to the same family since 1945. Featuring original, lofty, ornate ceilings, 3 double-sized bedrooms with 2 living areas, undercover entertainment area, double garage and 2 rumpus rooms to be auctioned on June 5.
And on Sunday from 2 to 2:45pm, Andrew Boswell is opening 13 Minter Road, Happy Valley. Now, this is first home heaven. It's a well-presented starter on a large block in a quiet neighbourhood, 3 bedrooms, a 2A bathroom, spacious lounge room and a big paved level entertaining area, close to local shops, walks and schools, just $400 to $435K.
For all the info, take a look at these properties and all them again, listings at realestate.com.au.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. Don't wait for end of financial year sales. Get great deals on a massive range of new Volkswagens right now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has loaded up on new stock, as well as locate demos, all ready for immediate delivery. And if you're impressed with our sales team, you'll love our service department, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't wait for a great deal on Volkswagen. Get yours now from Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, get instant cash back on iconic tyre brands, including Michelin, Goodyear and Bridgestone. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Now, Andy's just coming to the studio. We've got a little bit of audio to play. I don't know what this is.
Hello there, this is John Howard. I'm wishing David Penberthy a happy birthday. I've had a lot of encounters, pleasant ones mainly with David over the years.
Well, how good was that? It's good of the
JWH
Prime Minister to give you your annual birthday message.
The great man.
There he is.
Geez, I hope my wife's not listening. I'm in all sorts when I get home.
Let's give away a meat tray.
Mel from Taparoo, for that genuinely spine-chilling story about the haunted house in North Adelaide. That was like the room 237 moment.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
For the Stephen King, Stanley Kubrick fans out there, they'll know what I'm talking about. But Mel in Taparoo, fantastic entries from everyone. But Mel, you're the winner of the meat tray. Thanks to Gary and Emily Churchill and all the staff at Churchill's Butchery. Pop in and see them at the Marriotteville Shopping Centre or the Bayside Village at Glenelg. And everybody else, have a great weekend.